Winnipeg. The Montreal Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winnipeg Stadium, and we're underway. The kickoff coming down to Winnipeg's Freeman Basinger. Finds a little room to the far side and steps out near the 41-yard line. Final night of the regular season. Perfect night for football. -10.
Oh, baby,
the wind has died down.
I need one of those blankets or that fur coat right there. It is a little chilly out here at Winnipeg, and Bob Price's team gets cranked up. Nothing on the line, but a terrific season.
He's got a nice look going with the toque.
I'll tell you what, I talked to them before the game, both coaches, and I said, tonight, guys, with nothing on the line, you're going to find out who your players are on this kind of an evening.
Bombers 1st and 10. This is McDougall at the controls, on target for a first down out near midfield. Eric Gulliford made the catch, and the tackle made by Douglas Kraft. This is Kevin McDougall's 3rd straight start for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The numbers are there. Just 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions. Kent Austin has been relegated to a backup role again. In the backfield, the dual runners of Bryant and Richardson. The outside receivers on the left are Wise and Graham. On the right side, Basinger and Gulliford. And there's the veteran offensive line of the Blue Bombers, and the oldest veteran of all, Chris Walby, turned 40 last week.
Yes, and for his birthday, he got a couple of presents. He was named the Winnipeg Blue Bomber Outstanding Offensive Lineman, and they're representative as Outstanding Canadian in the Western Football Conference.
Douglas Kraft was shaken up on the tackle when he brought down Eric Gulliford. And maybe we can see what happened to him here.
Well, the hit coming, and 3 Montreal Alouettes collide together. You see his right leg pinned underneath Eric Gulliford, and Montreal coming into this game tonight is a little thin in their defensive backfield. Harold Nash, who played so well a week ago against Hamilton in a nickelback capacity, is not in the lineup. He's a little nick. We're going to look at the Montreal defense, and Grant Carter up front with 14 sacks. He and Angelo Snipes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers having a race for that title. Tracy Gravely, 102 tackles, and the defensive secondary, you see Kraft is out, and they are thin back there. Dwayne Provo in for him.
Winnipeg first down at the 54. McDougall on the run, and he's on target. Byron Wise, number 89, makes the catch. So he's gone to his 2 outside receivers and picked up back-to-back first downs.
I'll tell you what, you know, he has had difficulty, has Eric McDougall, in the games that we have seen him of late. Cal Murphy felt he played well enough in the 4th quarter, leading his team to that come from behind win over Ottawa last week, that again he would start tonight. He started out very, very well on a very cold evening, completing his first 2 passes.
15-yard gain on the previous play. Bombers set up just outside the Montreal 40, and he's 3 for 3 down to the 20. Sean Graham, number 88, 12th catch of the year.
You know, for an offense that has really struggled of late, what a lift it is to begin the game this way. Sean Graham, the inside receiver, is just going to go down and sit in the open seam and give Kevin McDougall credit. I mean, he put this ball right in the right spot. It now leads into the open area, and he expects his receiver to go and find it. Graham does, and this is a good-looking opening drive.
23 yards, setting the Bombers up at the Montreal 20. For the first down, first running play, Blaze Bryant, number 21. 8 carries last week for just 25 yards.
Yeah, kind of interesting, John. Last week they used both Michael Richardson and Blaze Bryant in the backfield together for the first time as an experiment, and they felt they would be able to run the ball. You mentioned Bryant's numbers. Richardson chipped in with a few yards of his own between the 2 of them. Actually, they only had 49 yards total rushing in that game, so I think tonight it will be a focus to get Blaze Bryant involved on the ground as well as Michael Richardson.
Both running backs want the ball a lot more frequently. This is 2nd and 7. McDougall on the run, on target to Basinger, and he's down to the 5. What a great drive, engineered by Kevin McDougall.
Comes to Freeman Basinger, and he was tackled by Tracy Gravely.
Well, I think this is a good style for Kevin McDougall. Roll out, you cut the field in half, you don't have to read coverage as well, and facing here on the quick out, wide open, and again, they keep this drive going. McDougall perfect in the passing department to begin this ball game.
Another 10-yard strike. Basinger with 4 last week. Bombers are first and goal to go at the Montreal 5. McDougall himself.
Kevin McDougall's taking the ball.
It came loose and it ended up in Chris Walby's mitts.
That's a great goal line play. The option, but McDougall really loses the handle on it initially on the fake, and there it goes right there, and he's able to recover it and keep going, and very fortunate. Ball pops loose by Spencer McLennan. But Walby, as you mentioned, John, with the recovery, so things going every way, good way for the Bombers.
Walby picked up a couple of yards after getting the ball to send Winnipeg up with a couple of cracks at it from the 1. Michael Richardson, he has the touchdown. Great drive by the Blue Bomber rookie at quarterback, Kevin McDougall. Not quite a rookie. He did see a little bit of action last year.
Well, he looked like a 10-year veteran on this opening drive. The handoff to Richardson, and he just follows Brett McNeil and Kyle Earl along the left side. Cuts back, but has enough strength to take Alfred Payton into the end zone along with him. And, you know, for a team I mentioned that is struggling offensively, this is a heck of a way to start the ball game.
7-0 Winnipeg. And this was a team last week that managed only 9 points offensively all game long in a game against Ottawa. Michael Richardson has the first score of the night.
Well, we just hit it where he hit my fullback.
No. What was his first step?
He came for the handoff.
That's right. Then if he does, then you should be going out.
Well, I did.
That's right.
There was absolutely nothing wrong on that drive, was there? 4 for 4 and 59 yards for McDougall, and the Bombers score on their first play. This is Rush returning from Montreal. Good head of steam. What a great run. Finally forced out near the 50. 41-yard return after a 65-yard kickoff.
Tyrell Rush has had an interesting season. Began the first half of the season with Montreal, and then Hamilton plucked him off the practice roster, played for them for a few games. Now is back in with the injury to Mike Pringle, the hyperextended elbow. Tyrone Rush is returning kicks and will start at running back for the Owls tonight as they close out the season.
Tracy Ham has won 4 in a row, and he's had a superb season in Montreal. Those numbers accumulated despite the fact that he's missed 4 games.
And that translates into a 58% completion percentage for Tracy Ham, which is a very, very good percentage.
Time count violation. Montreal number 8.
And the ratio on touchdowns and interceptions to Ham's numbers is something quite amazing. 25 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions. Ham will throw to Nigel Williams and Dennis Montana outside, Jock Climby inside, along with Chris Armstrong. And to run the ball a little bit different with Pringle and Souls out. Tyrone Rush and Alan Wetmore are the running backs. The offensive line has looked that way pretty much all of 1996.
Mark Dixon, the left tackle, you watch him, he's having a heck of a year.
This is 1st and 15 for Ham, near side on target. He'll get a first down. Jock Climby has his 64th catch of the season.
Tracy Ham complete to Jock Climby.
Well, Jock Climby's had a fantastic year, 1,116 yards for him, and you see he gets away from Darius Watson at the line of scrimmage with a little juke move, good feet to the outside, and of course, Tracy Ham would like nothing better than to answer that opening drive that Kevin McDougall put together with a good one of his own.
Climby grabs 20 yards, and the Alouettes are set up just inside the Winnipeg 45. This is Rush, broke 1, and he's close to an 8-yard gain. Tyrone Rush.
And he was brought down by Angelo Snipes.
The Winnipeg defense that Tracy Ham will work against. Stan Mikowicz gets to start at defensive end his last game before he retires. Last home game, kind of a nice gesture for Cal Murphy to start him. Darnell Small starts in place of Greg Clark, who was out with an injury. He'll be ready for the playoffs. And Defensive backfield intact from a week ago. And Garrett, pretty impressive rookie out on the corner.
2nd and 2, Montreal at the Bomber 36. Rush again. Extra effort might get him the first down. Pretty close. Alouettes looking for their 12th win of the season, which would be a franchise record. No Montreal team has ever won 12 times.
There will be a measurement on the play.
So it's close enough for a measurement here at Winnipeg Stadium with 8:52 to go. In the opening quarter, the Bombers marched impressively for an early touchdown and a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, they sure did. And Montreal, rather, doing their best to come back and answer. You mentioned Alan Wetmore starting at fullback tonight. Michael Souls, who's had a terrific year, and well, I think he is the outstanding Canadian in the Eastern Conference. That is my personal opinion.
Well, I think he's going to get a lot of votes, and I don't think he'll have any trouble winning it.
Well, Paulus Balderson's in there too, but I was going to say about Michael Souls, he is just kind of banged up and sore right now. So with this essentially being a meaningless game, he's going to rest and get ready for what should be a tremendous Eastern semifinal against Hamilton.
First down. Here's a little heat for Ham. He eludes it. And not quite. Looking for Chris Armstrong, 81.
Well, Chris Armstrong is about 57 yards short of a 1,000-yard season. I talked to Tracy Ham before the game. I said, will it be a focus of yours to get him that 1,000? He said, yes, it is. And he said, I'd love to be able to do it on one play and get rid of it early. That may not happen, but
he'll hit 1,000 tonight, don't you think?
Well, I think so. You know, you look at a game like this where it won't affect the standings. You know, you look at some personal things that may occur tonight and will keep you abreast of goals.
Including the sack championship. And on target, touchdown. Jock Climby, what a great play that was. Tracy Ham to Jock Climby, a 34-yard touchdown strike, and that answers the Bomber drive.
I'll tell you what, we are off to a heck of a start, and we got to appreciate the offense at the high level they are functioning at early in the game. Each team on their opening series going the distance, and you'll see to the left of your screen, Tracy Ham looking for Climby all the way. Second catch in this drive over the top of Greg Vaughn. Climby drags Greg Frears into the end zone, but boy, oh boy, this is a heck of a start to this game.
We can't ask for a much better beginning than what's unfolding here at Winnipeg Stadium. Jock Climby into the end zone with his 8th touchdown reception of the season, and it's 7-7. For Montreal, and it looks like the Alouettes might have the first turnover of the ball game. Sam Giddings coming up with it. Carter was in the area too.
And the ball was recovered by Montreal's
Wade Miller trying to get a block downfield, but it's not really going to matter because his guy coughed it up. Rashad Giddings will come up with a fumble recovery. You're going to see at the end, the left of your screen. The hit coming.
So the Alouettes who scored the last time they touched the ball is set up at the 25, first down, and just missed Chris Armstrong.
And that's one of the patterns that Montreal runs so well. They like to cross their slot backs, Chris Armstrong and Jock Climby, and make teams that play a lot of man-to-man, as Winnipeg does, chase them. And Darius Watson could not stay with Armstrong. Ham just couldn't connect with him, but that is a pass pattern that Tracy Ham and his offense loves to use time and time again.
Second and 10 Alouettes. Nigel Williams to the near side. And gets a little heat, steps up, fires. He has Armstrong to the 5 and forced out at about the 2-yard line. Chris Armstrong. A 23-yard connection.
That was game
Well, here's a look at Chris Armstrong, and again, it's the crossing pattern. He gets a little rub from his inside receiver, Jock Climby, in the trips formation, and there's absolutely no way Watson can get across the field, and that's a good-looking play. It's a tough play to cover, and it's a pretty easy pass to complete.
Alouettes are first and goal at the Bomber 1. Bombers scored in their first opportunity. Montreal answered that. And Montreal has the first turnover and threatening to make it back-to-back touchdowns. First crack at it from the 1-yard line. Over the top, and that'll be a touchdown. Tyrone Rush flew into the end zone from a yard out, and the Alouettes have quickly taken the lead.
Tyrone Rush is a lot bigger than you might think when you look at him. He's 5'11" and 200 pounds, very strong in the upper body, strong thighs, and he just absolutely launches himself. You're going to get a good look at it here. When he figures he can't bust through, he says the easiest way then is over the top of this pile, and he doesn't make it by much, but it's enough to capitalize on the turnover by Basinger. And Montreal takes advantage quickly.
Alouettes on top. It's 14-7 at Winnipeg Stadium. Tyrone Rush started the season in the Montreal backfield, ended up in Hamilton for a few weeks, and back in Montreal to replace Pringle for this one.
Yeah, he's a good running back. I mean, he has bounced around, but I don't think that really says about what his abilities are and what he can give to a football team. A very valuable guy to have. And well, you have to look and give Bob Price's team a heck of a lot of credit. There's Bob on the sidelines. I mean, they come into this game 11-6. They struggled early trying to find the right import Canadian balance with this team that was all imports a year ago, of course, in Baltimore. And, you know, I thought they would struggle early. They did, and I'm just so impressed with the job that Bob Price and Jim Pop, their personnel and general manager, have done to structure this team, get it working as a molded unit. You know, keep in mind, they put a lot of new faces on this team in 1 year, and it seemed to all come together when they got some guys back like Alfred Payton. And
20-plus changes from the Grey Cup champs when they had to add in the Canadian talent.
Well, and you look at how they're functioning now. I mean, this is a team that I'm sure nobody would want to play in the playoffs.
Raymond Basinger dropped the last one.
Oh!
And he held on there after taking a big hit. Giddings was in on that tackle as well. 24 yards on the return. And Freeman seems okay.
You're going to see a terrific hit from the right of your screen. Rashad Giddings, number 50, coming right there. And that is what they call a good old head popper. And the previous kickoff return, Basinger wasn't so lucky. He coughed it up. Giddings with the fumble recovery. So on consecutive kickoffs, Giddings is factored big time.
Michael Richardson on 1st and 10. Call it a gain of 3. Richardson and Blaze Bryant to run the ball for Winnipeg. Kevin McDougall hitting on 44% of his passes coming into this game, but he's started off perfectly tonight.
Well, I think it started last week. You know, he went 18 of 34. That's 53%. So he started to move up. Now he starts 4 of 4. And, you know, I guess you have to give him credit. The more playing time he gets, he's getting better and better each outing, and that's what you expect.
And deep. Couldn't connect with Eric Gulliford. Wanted a penalty, and he got a flag, but it's against him for arguing the non-call.
Well, you know, I do like the play itself, going over the top and try and stretch the defense out early in a game. I've always believed in that, and to me, if you can do that early, at least you plant the seed that we are going to go over the top tonight.
This could be serious here. Well, I thought the announcement was about ready to be made. Not quite. Gulliford's night over, Leaf?
I hope not. Steve Buell's been a little touchy the last few weeks, and I don't think you better argue with him too much. course, involved his crew in the Mike Trevathan incident.
Eric did, and here's what happened.
Sexual conduct, physical abuse of an official, Winnipeg 84.
Good night.
Down.
Well, he is out. I mean, Dave Yeo and his crew, and I'm not questioning whether this was justified or not, but you know, we saw that happen to Jeff Cummings a few weeks ago. He was thrown out. Now Gulliford's thrown out, and the fellows in the striped shirts are a little edgy these days. And again, let me qualify that maybe it was entirely justifiable.
He was angry he didn't get a call, and here's what happened.
Oh, no. You can't touch him.
There you go.
Hey, listen, Eric, you earned that one. Which on a cold night's not so bad. I didn't mean that.
No, when you're going to have to deal with Cal after the game, it's not going to be much fun for him.
That's true. Yeah, I'd rather stay out brave the cold than to have to deal with the wrath of Cal Murphy, because they
Over
are
something like that. You know?
Wow, absolutely, and they are thin at receiver. Alan Boyko listed as the backup tonight.
Feet on the return, number 29. Fight, Lewis fight. There you go. Bombers had an early lead. Chris Walby has been around since, well, about 1955, I think. Well, not quite.
Yeah, and he's the nominee for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for Outstanding Canadian. Now, Johnny boy, who do you like in both conferences?
Well, I was going with Michael Souls. I think we did it on Leroy Blue from Edmonton.
Yes, we did. That'll be a good final right there. Leroy Blue and Michael Souls. That's close fun.
We'll run down the rest of the nominees as we progress here.
Well, we're going to do that tonight because you and I was not asked to vote for the first time in 15 years, and I've taken this as a personal slight.
So you're going to vote over the air.
I'm going to do it the best I can over the air, and boy, if I had to pick, I couldn't pick between those two if, in fact, they would emerge from there.
I said Michael Souls would win in a walk, and that's really not true. That's going to be a fairly close balloting there, but I really like what he brought to the Montreal Alouettes this year as a receiver and a runner.
I think that's an excellent comment.
Hand was hit in the motion. The Bombers can't come up with a loose ball. It was ruled a pass, and the Bombers couldn't get to it before it hit the turf. In the throwing motion.
There's Katie Williams. There's Katie Williams at the top, and he's the one that will get the final pressure. He's done this all season long. 5 sacks on the year, and he just overpowers not too interested Tyrone Rush, who was trying to block him. The ball comes loose.
And who couldn't hang on in there because there was the opportunity for the interception.
Quite see who had the shot at it, but Montreal does recover. But Katie Williams gets the pressure.
Terry Baker is having a wonderful season. His longest from 52. And he's a little shy here. Boyko decides to give away the point.
The crowd wants penalty, a roughing penalty for that. Give me a break. This isn't a pillow fight out there, you know. I mean, that one tippy toes around, you're allowed to go and have take a shot at him. Terry Baker, tell you what, he's had a pretty good year. You know what? I don't know. Maybe this is a pet peeve of mine, but when guys do this and kind of just tippy-toe around and then just decide to go down at the last second, I think you can expect to get a little bit. I mean, that's nothing.
You should take a hit there.
Sure. I mean, that's not even a hit.
No.
But when you tease those tacklers coming downfield, I think you're asking for it.
Blue Bombers will begin at their own 40-yard line. Trailing Montreal by 8. McDougall has Basinger. The kid from Notre Dame has got a hot hand so far tonight. Another first down.
Well, and I think what's working well for him on the majority of his passes is going to the rollout. You know, I mentioned it earlier for a young quarterback, you cut that field in half, and it's not as difficult to read the coverages when you're just rolling to one side. And essentially, you're only dealing with 3 defensive backs and your 2 or 3 receivers to that side. And I really think that'll be successful there. We mentioned what he did last week. That was a 53% completion rate, and slowly he's been able to get better and better each week. And I guess what I like about him, John, is a week ago in that win against Ottawa, he threw no interceptions. Now, he didn't throw a touchdown pass, but I mean, as a young quarterback, what Cal Murphy wants is for him not to beat themselves. They have good enough defense and good enough special teams that if the offense doesn't let you down, then you're okay.
And he did engineer the final drive to set up the game-winning field goal.
You're right, he did. And it was a good drive.
2nd and inches, McDougall himself, and that'll be a first down.
No, I guess when you look at this Winnipeg team, and usually historically you think of the offense of just being a grinded away kind of offense. It always has a 1,000-yard rusher, and you know, this year it just hasn't been the case. They're 8th, in fact, in rushing the football, and I know that bothers guys like Chris Walby and the offensive lineman. They would like to tee off a little more and get more than the 81 yards a game they're averaging on the ground.
Winnipeg first down near midfield. McDougall missed and was lucky that wasn't intercepted as he looked for Alan Boyko.
I think Douglas Kraft was in the huddle there because he was in far better position than the receiver Alan Boyko was, and you know, here we fall back to Gulliford getting thrown out. Boyko now in wide receiver, and he's the only guy that they have as a backup receiver tonight. Maybe he just didn't run that pattern correctly.
Second time that Douglas Kraft has been shaken up.
He's got that dislocated finger or something like that. Yeah,
pull it back. You don't want to watch this, do you?
Oh, no, I'm all right with that one. I'm okay with that. It's when the bones are sticking out I have a little problem with it.
Okay.
I'm okay with this. Sure. I think Doug, I don't think he's quite smiling like he is there right now.
No, that's not a live picture, as you like to guess. Richardson can't get into first down territory.
That's good coverage by the Montreal Alouettes secondary, because Michael Richardson's a tough guy to bring down, but you know, you get team second and long, and Montreal loves to play his own defense. That's their base coverage, and second and long they can do that. See, they're all just dropping into their zones right now, and they react when the ball's in the air, and there's 2 guys right there, Irv Smith and Jason Bryant, to make the play.
And a little bit of a blitz up front here. This is Peterson coming.
Wow, he takes on initial double team and still gets some good pressure. Don't think McDougall didn't see him coming.
Cameron will punt on 3rd and 5. Winnipeg should regain a little field position, though. That should even things up on the single scorecard.
Gotta love Lewis fight, the return guy. He thought this was U.S. football where it was just going to be down. He just let it go. Irv Smith, to his credit, reacted, knew that somebody would have to down it.
68-yard punt for Bob Cameron. The Bombers are back to within a touchdown. What a great year Jock Climbey has had. We talked about him a little bit earlier. A couple of catches tonight, 1 for a touchdown. Over 1,100 yards receiving.
Well, a couple big guys that Michael Soul's not involved in this game, but an ex-McGill Redman on the Montreal Alouettes side, and of course Jock Climbey, a former All-Star with
both those guys will be back to McGill tomorrow to watch the game. Climbey hopes to be there by halftime. The Souls who didn't make this trip will be there for the kickoff. This is Tyrone Rush, and he's running well tonight. An outstanding run, in fact, down to the 40-yard line.
And he's brought down by K.D.
Well, certainly one of the strengths of the Alouettes all season long, their ability to run the football. Number 1 in the league at 154 yards a game on the ground, and solid blocking up front, and just enough for Tyrone Rush to get into the secondary. And this is scary when your defensive backs are going to have to start tackling him tonight.
37 yards for Rush.
You know, John, you look at this Montreal offense and how it's structured for Tracy Ham. When he's had his best successes as a quarterback, it's been with offenses that have had extremely productive running games. His good years in Edmonton, he had that. Blake Marshall and company, Michael Souls there. Now he's got it again in Montreal. He had it in Baltimore a year ago, and it means he just has to throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game, and that's perfect for him.
Nigel Williams is the injured Alouette, and he was the lead blocker on this play. Seems to be in a great deal of pain down there.
Well, there he is to the left of screen, and he just gets rolled over from behind, and those are scary. There he is at the top, 88. And he just gets rolled over by Katie Williams and Tyrone Rush. And that one does not look good.
Already a couple of Alouettes have headed to the sidelines.
This has been kind of a feel-out kind of season for Nigel Williams. His first chance to be a starter, and chipped in with those 33 catches you saw. And this is a guy they don't want to lose. Had a huge touchdown catch in overtime a week ago to win that game.
Alouettes at the Bomber 38. Ham swings it up. Tyrone Rush comes up a couple of yards shy of the first down. Grabbed by Colin Scribner, number 72.
You know, this is pretty good range by Katie Williams. You wonder why he's the outstanding player for the Bombers, and show you why right here. Here he is, and here goes Rush. Watch how far Williams has to go to make the play, and when he does, this is a heck of an open field tackle, because Rush is no easy guy to bring down. I mean, you're talking 15, 20 yards, and now he settles, breakdown, shoulder square, and if you're a linebacker at home watching that, that's how you do it.
Montreal 2nd and 3. First down at the 20-yard line. Alouettes offense is really clicking tonight. Well, that's with Rush and Wetmore in the backfield. Imagine what they'll be like when they have Pringle and Souls back.
I'm not, well, the way these guys are playing, you know, no, I'm just kidding, but that was a pretty interesting version of the shovel pass. They did an overhand version with him. They played a little game against Charlie Clemens. Well, I can say it again, Bob Price's team is this is a good-looking football team right now.
Should be the last play of the opening quarter. Ham on first down. Looks to the end zone. No one home. John Climby went the other way. It was a zig instead of a zag. That is quarter one with the Montreal Alouettes on top. 15-8. Send you back to CFL Live Control.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Chicago Flash.
CFL Live at the Quarter, brought to you by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Welcome back to our CFL Control studio. Yeah, back in the friendly confines again. Obviously, the commissioner is gone now, and we get to talk some football. Let's talk about this first quarter, Coach. Give me your observations so far.
Well, you know, the Winnipeg defense has been carrying their football team all season. The offense has really been their biggest concern, and I think that's the key thing we're watching. They had a good drive the first drive, and now they're, you know, kind of falling behind a little bit. And Tracy Ham's been playing extremely well for Montreal the last few weeks on offense.
Let me tell you, Coach, I'm glad to see Tyrone Rush back playing again, because this kid was in Hamilton, and I thought he was playing pretty well. Tyrone Rush played 3 games in Hamilton, which you know they don't run the ball, and he had over 104 yards, or over 104 yards. Now he's back with Montreal, and he seems to be playing pretty good. I don't understand a man getting fired for playing well. It's sort of like Dave Ritchie getting fired for winning.
Well, you know, anything that goes on in the CFL, and that's something, unfortunately, we didn't get to ask Larry Smith about, but the fact of the matter is that there's too much of a revolving door syndrome in the CFL. Players are going and coming far too often, and Tyrone Rush is a perfect example of that.
But you know what, though? He's got one of the best names in the Canadian Football League. Running back Tyrone Rush. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. We could have called him Pinball, the way he was bouncing with the Ticats and Montreal. You touched upon Tracy Ham and the season that he is having, Coach, and I know that you're really impressed with Ham. You put him right up there with Doug Flutie in the East. As a matter of fact, you go so far as to say that he should be the Eastern MVP.
You know, it's funny, Darren, because last week Leif Pedersen was sitting in the studio with us, and he asked me straight out, who would I rather have going into the playoffs, Doug Flutie or Tracy Ham? And at the time, I sort of sat on the fence in a very uncharacteristic fashion.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic.
But I've been thinking about it. You know, it was only last year when Tracy Ham was the most valuable player in the Grey Cup game, and he beat Doug Flutie in that Grey Cup game. And Tracy Ham is, I still say he's playing better football now than he has in his entire career. I'd rather have Tracy Ham than Doug Flutie.
The second half, he has been playing a lot better.
Les agrees with me. It's
well,
unbelievable.
Montreal has got themselves a 15-8 lead, and Tracy Ham has indeed looked very good. Let's return to Winnipeg.
This is the first play of the second quarter, and not quite.
Tracy Ham's pass.
Flags are down.
John, I'll tell you what, if I was sitting in that studio beside Marty York tonight, he would not have picked Tracy Ham as his quarterback right now. He'd have said Doug Flutie. I'd have intimidated him. You hear that, Marty?
Offside. Winnipeg number 48. Second down repeated.
Charlie Clemens got an early start. It'll be 2nd and 5.
You know, it's funny talking about Tracy Ham like that. Who would you rather have? I mean, it's so tough to compare them because they play in such different systems. And what Doug Flutie gives Toronto, I'm not sure Tracy Ham could, and Doug Flutie wouldn't function in this more conservative system than Montreal has.
Here's Ham on 2nd and 5. He'll take off. Now he'll throw, and he gets the touchdown. Jock Climby, 2nd of the night. From Tracy Ham, a 15-yard strike. So Jock Climby now has 9 touchdowns on the season.
And John, it's no secret why good receivers are successful down near the goal line and all over the field, and why guys like Jock Climby consistently have 1,000 yards. Watch to the left. He works back to the quarterback now. He keeps that separation, so when Ham throws, nobody can fight through the football and get a piece of it. And that's something that you learn early in your career, and when you can do it on a consistent basis, you're going to have a lot of success.
Climby has a couple, and the Alouettes have a 22-8 lead on the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. Ham is hot.
Yes, he is, but he's getting help from his receivers, and anytime you do that, I mean, the trick to watch here with Climby is when he gets down here, he doesn't go this way, he works back that way, and he keeps separation. He keeps guys like Bobby Evans from cutting through to the football, and I mean, this is good. Now the fun starts. He knows Ham's in trouble, so he makes the target, but watch how he comes back right here. He keeps the separation. Evans can't get through, or Garrett rather. And that's a good play.
Now Ham makes the play by scrambling. He likely had an opportunity to pick up the first down here. He had room out there, but then
he might have
the final second.
He might have done that about 8 years ago, but I think Katie Williams was pretty close there too, and Katie Williams can run down most quarterbacks. It's a lot safer to throw to this guy. 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, not a bad first half.
Having an interesting night. This is Freeman Basinger. Fumbled one earlier. That cost Winnipeg a touchdown. Basinger gets out across the 35 to about the 37. 6 plays to cover 75 yards. Ham to Climby from 15 away.
And as we've talked in the past, I've done 3 Winnipeg games in the last 4 weeks now. This is not a great catch-up kind of offense. So at 22-8, I think it's imperative for Kevin McDougall to at least slow down the Montreal attack by keeping the football for a little bit and hopefully getting some points out.
He's got to work without his best receiver now. Eric Gulliford on the sidelines, ejected in the first quarter.
That's going to make it tougher.
Mike Richardson and trapped shorts of the line of scrimmage.
David Pitcher getting some playing time on the defensive line. Number 26, a former fullback, actually makes the play on the counter, sneaking in from behind. But you're right, you mentioned losing Eric Gulliford. I mean, that's a big part of your offense when you want to go deep. I mean, he's the guy in there that's got all the speed. There's David Pitcher, fullback. How about that? Beefed up and now playing on the defensive line.
Has 1 sack on the season, and we missed it in Montreal. The night we were there. McDougall hit as he tried to connect to the near side. Richardson was in the area. 3rd down, and Cameron comes in.
Well, that's not what Winnipeg wanted. I mean, I think they need to try to answer the Montreal touchdown, just with nothing more than maybe to get a few first downs and, you know, stop the momentum swing that Montreal definitely had in their favor. But now, you know, where Cameron is, Montreal's going to get it in pretty good field position. And the way their offense has been functioning, you have to think that, you know, they're kind of unstoppable here in the first half.
Bombers did score first on an impressive drive. Lewis Fight awaits Bob Cameron's kick. Low drive this time. Fight's still on his feet.
They got him.
Flags are down as Fight heads to the end zone. He's dragged down for 15, but they'll bring this one way back. A return of 61 yards will likely be wiped out by an illegal blocking penalty called against Spencer McClellan.
The head in front. He's blocking Leonard Jean-Pierre. Click it back and forth here. Coach's clicker. And just watch the head again. It does not get in front. And that is a good call by the official. Unfortunate because it wipes out a terrific return by Mr. Fight.
Spencer explaining himself on the sidelines. Joey Yock.
Oh, there's always a story of why you. There's always a story of why you did it.
And he didn't really miss by much. I mean, he's trying to get out in front. It was a correct call.
It's the old yeah but story.
Yeah, but almost he turned at the last second.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you know what? And you bring up a good point. A lot of guys will do that when they feel like they're going to be taken out of the play and they have no chance to make a tackle. They'll turn and try and induce that penalty. And the officials have to be aware of that.
And begins at the 35. I thought he was all wrapped up, Lee.
Well, if this had been hockey, they would have blown the whistle because they lost the puck. I mean, we lost Tyrone Rush. Here he is, and you watch. I mean, Darnell Small, 45. He takes the outside away, and when he cuts back, I mean, how in the world did he ever get away from Kropke? Somehow he did. Whistle should have gone. Lost sight of Rush.
Gain is 3, 2nd and 7. Big heat on hand. He got away. And he got the pass away as well. Time he was the intended target. Darnell Small forced to throw a little early. And Gerald Vaughn was coming on a halfback blitz.
Yeah, he was coming on the hammer blitz, and you know, Tracy Ham, there's no way to account for him from the top of the screen, but somehow he just ducks underneath, and often when you tackle high, that's what happens.
Terry Baker had a little difficulty, but got it away. Raymond Basinger, a 3-hopper at the 20. And no room in the near sideline. Alouettes have come back to score 22 points after the Bombers scored the first 7.
Back in there.
Here's the guy up for postseason awards, Tracy Grabbley, who leads the league in tackles with 102 coming into this game. Up against Mike Philbrick of Hamilton, Reggie Gibbons, Toronto, Lamar McGriggs of Ottawa, and he's got a pretty good chance to win, I think.
Yeah, he's my pick. In the West, you kind of like Willie Pless.
Well, I think it's kind of difficult to go against Willie Pless. This will be a close ballot, I do think.
I think it will.
Angelo's had a great year in Winnipeg, no doubt.
Leading the league with 15 sacks is Angelo Snipes, and those are our picks for whatever it's worth.
McDougall on first down. He's got Basinger. And a good effort by Freeman Basinger to get the touchdown, or to get the first down after making the catch.
And when Kevin McDougall has had success tonight, it's been with the short passing game. And here's Basinger as the number 3 receiver. And what they're doing is they're completing short passes, and they're getting good yardage. Now they're going to measure. It's close to a first down, but when they've been hitting Basinger on quick outs and keeping it underneath the zone coverage that the Alouettes like to do, they've been getting solid yardage on first down, and that has really set up their offense.
By inches of first down. Kevin McDougall got on 70% of his passes tonight. 7 of 10 for 84 yards. And this could be interesting as we look ahead to the Western semifinal as to who might start as the Blue Bomber quarterback.
Yo, what's up? Peace, love, and soul, baby.
McDougal avoided the first wave, bought a little time. And no. Bottom was gone for 6. Jason Bryant had it in his mitts. Maybe that's why he only has 1 interception this season.
That could be, because that was a terrible mistake by Kevin McDougal. Anytime you throw back across the field, you're asking for trouble. And the rollout one way, and when nothing's open quickly, the fun starts. Grant Carter with a great pass rush that McDougal avoids. But here, I mean, this should have been 6 points. Goodness gracious! I mean, that's a nice play by Bryant. He just that was a freebie there, and he couldn't convert.
This play is whistled down. It was to be 2nd and 10. The indication from referee Dave Ewell. The Alouettes on top, 22-8.
Winnipeg 63. Still 2nd down.
Chris Walby is playing the 254th game of his CFL career. Pretty darn amazing.
Hard to imagine. To me, what's more amazing about Walby is that he was a hockey player, too.
Pretty good one, apparently.
Yeah, I find that
or certainly an intimidating hockey player, I'm sure.
The senior citizens around the league, and I thought it was a nice gesture by Cal Murphy to start Stan Mikowicz tonight in his final home game as a Blue Bomber.
This will be 2nd and 15. McDougal can't get away. Alfred Payton, number 57, celebrates there. And McDougal is down.
Well, you look at the bookends for the Alouettes. Payton on one side, Carter on another, and you know, no slouch against Walby. He gets held too, and still gets the sack. And this is not good news, as Kevin McDougal has stayed down on the ground.
So it won't be a sack for Payton. Ken Austin is going to get his chance. And that may settle the discussion for next week in Edmonton right there.
Well, you know, we haven't really discussed this yet. Reggie Slack standing beside, but Ken Austin, in a conversation I had with him before the game, really wanted to play tonight. He said, I'm as healthy as I'm going to be. The left shoulder is still sore. It's going to be sore. But he said, if they're counting on me to play in that playoff game up in Edmonton, I need some playing time tonight to get chip a little of the rust off. But he was actually pretty disappointed that he wasn't starting.
Well, he'll get the opportunity tonight now.
There's Payton at the top, and I mean, he's working on Walby, and you know, it's just you get the rip move, the arm underneath, and then you start using leverage, and watch how quickly he gets up by Walby. There's the rip right there. Little swim technique, and then leverage. And of course, the ankle injury at the end of this play. That's a good move by Alfred Payton. Not quite sure what that dance is, but it's original.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you read into it? Kind of a celebration there.
It's like looking at a painting and trying to figure out what it is. Is that what it is?
What is he trying to tell us?
Yeah. Well, I think he's trying to tell us he's happy. I'm not quite sure how you interpret how he's doing that. Well, there's no secret. I mean, if Winnipeg's going to go up to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton a week from now and have success, it's going to be with this guy right here. And I don't know if he's still got it in him. He's an old war horse, and so is his coach Cal Murphy. But between the two of them, if they can ever muster something up and give the Eskimos a tussle, Eskimos look awfully tough.
Well, how do you explain why Murphy was going with McDougal in this one tonight?
I can't. Well, I can in the effect that I think in his heart he probably wanted to play Austin, but he said the best shot I've got at winning that Western semifinal is with a healthy Austin, and if I play him tonight and lose him, I may kiss that game goodbye. And that's the rationale I think that he would go with.
So you didn't buy any of the suggestion that they were looking at McDougal as the quarterback of the future. Walby also shaken up down there.
No, I don't buy that at all, that they were looking to McDougal as the quarterback of the future.
It took about 3 guys to get Walby up off the turf.
Well, you're going to have a look at it here. he spins down, and almost like he landed on his tailbone. Pretty twisted his knee, maybe. Tough to tell.
They better put some more air in the tires on this cart here.
Well, you know, he's going to go home and watch this on the replay tonight. He's going to come looking for you down at the Lombard Hotel. And when he finds you, don't ask for any help from me.
Meanwhile, the quarterback doesn't have seniority on the team. That's why Walby gets the ride off the field, and they make the second-year quarterback walk to the sidelines.
I can appreciate that.
So Austin will get his hands on the football, and the Bomber offense takes the field after this next sequence. Too many interceptions for the veteran Austin this year. And too many injuries, too. He's had several injury problems. Cameron back at his 15. Fights. Took 161 yards the last time, and this might be even better. Those fights still going. Not from behind as he crossed the 20-yard line. Wade Miller finally tracked him down. Back-to-back great ones.
Yeah, and that was almost an instant replay of the punt return he had before that was called back as he got it way down the sidelines. Gets around the corner, and now he finally cuts it back in at the end. Wade Miller made the final stop. Now there's Wade Miller chasing from behind. Good effort by him, but it still doesn't hide the fact that Montreal, with that great return, has unbelievable field position.
51 yards on the return, setting Montreal up at the Bombers' 16. Tracy Ham won't go. He got it away. He didn't think he was going to get the pass away.
Yeah, and Angelo Snipes was hoping he didn't because he wanted to get a little breathing room, and as he keeps going for the sack title this year in the CFL. But Tracy Ham, again, you know, seen this so many times throughout his career, the ability to buy extra time for himself. Finally, he runs out of time, but has enough presence to get rid of it as he feels the heat from Snipes.
83 sacks in his career. 15 this season. He leads the league in 96.
I'm going to
Ham buys some more time. Still going. Ham cuts in, and he's down to the 2-yard line. No one does it quite like Tracy Ham.
Well, you know what's funny about his running style, John? It never looks like he's running that hard, but nobody seems to ever catch him from behind. And this was a good choice here because he just didn't have anybody open, and with a lot of open AstroTurf in front of him. And, you know, good decision. One of the reasons why he's only thrown 10 interceptions and 25 touchdowns this year. He just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Little help from his receiver, Nigel Williams. Good to see him back in the game.
He picked up 14 to set Montreal up at the Bomber 2. Not this time. Kelly Rush wrapped up by Scribner and Katie Williams.
Well, somebody made a mistake on the offensive line up front for Montreal because Scribner was not blocked, the Snipes was not blocked, and Tyrone Rush paid the price.
Colin Scribner with 5 sacks and an interception on his season. Now back at the 5. Second and goal to go from there. Ham fired low, hit the looking for Armstrong, and hit the base of the post.
Tough to catch him when they do that.
That might be the real post pattern.
You see that post right in the middle, and no, he didn't even hit that. He hit a foot.
And ricocheted off.
I thought he hit the post, too. Terry Baker missed one tonight, a long one. For a tough night to kick field goals cold like this. The wind is gusting, but you know, he's at 80% on the season right now, and that is a good, solid year for him.
4 points for the Alouettes, who spotted Winnipeg a 7-0 lead, and now have a 25-8 advantage. Tough night for injuries. At that Blue Bomber bench, let's bring in Greg Musselman for the latest.
Okay, John, well, Kevin McDougall has his left ankle iced, injured on that play, of course. He said he'd like to come back, but it's not looking too good. He's currently going off to the dressing room, having a pretty good night, so disappointing night for Kevin McDougall. And back up to you guys, where it's certainly a lot warmer.
Here's Ken Austin and his man, but Blaze Bryant couldn't hang on long enough. Austin's first pass, incomplete.
I think what Austin would like, obviously, to do, I mean, he hasn't played in a lot of weeks, and you know, that was a pretty good throw right there that should have been caught.
See, now the sophomore gets to go to the dressing room. By Kerr. 2nd and 10, Winnipeg. Austin swings it out for Richardson. Nowhere there.
Well, you know, John, sorry, John, it's what we've said all night. When you get Winnipeg in 2nd and long, Montreal has a terrific zone defense. They can squeeze down lanes, and guys like Anthony Drawhorn can do their coverage and look into the backfield at the same time. And when you're allowed to do that, you get a jump on the football, and you come up, and that's what the 2nd or 3rd time they've made good plays on 2nd and long.
Time for the Bombers special teams to pay attention to this guy, Lewis Pike. Last 2 punt returns have covered 61 and 51 yards. One was called back, but one stood. Cameron just got it away. High, booming kick. Fight. Up to 38. This guy is phenomenal. Out across midfield, down to about the Winnipeg 52. Yards on the return. And here's Tyrone Rush. Alouettes get field position again, thanks to a nice return.
Rewrite the rule book.
Joe Williams, the outside receivers, for Tracy Ham, who walks away.
Time count violation. Montreal number 8. Still first down.
Montreal called a first 15. While Montreal.
The Alouettes, the road to the Grey Cup from here is all indoors. Next week against Hamilton in Montreal, and if they win that, they'd be at Skydome. But the Tiger Cats will play these guys pretty tough in Montreal next week.
Oh, it's going to be a great game.
Kropke can't catch up to Ham. He's still going. Like I said a few moments ago, it didn't appear like he was going terribly fast, but he runs very efficiently.
Well, again, you know what you see is you don't see anybody catching. Here's John Kropke on the nose. He's going to be the one that has a chance to get Ham, but Ham just runs away from everybody. Nobody catches him. He gets another block from Mario Henry downfield.
34 yards for Ham. Kropke missed his opportunity. 4:22 left. In the opening half, Montreal set up at the Winnipeg 25. Markers are down. Ham looks deep to the end zone and has Rush who comes up with the ball, but we'll check on the infraction. 24 yards in the touchdown stand.
Oh, I think it was 48. Charlie Clemens certainly jumped the gun. Whether he was drawn or not remains to be seen, but I think he jumped, and that should count.
Offside. Winnipeg 91. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Touchdown stands. That was Angelo Snipes they spotted there. Did you see Angelo?
They call Snipes at the bottom of your screen right here, but it looked to me like somebody coming up in the middle. I believe that is Charlie Clemens right there. He was the one that jumped. They both jumped, and take your pick on that one. The end result is Tyrone Rush made a heck of a catch, and really Montreal has looked awfully crisp here in this first half. 32-8. I mean, this is you know, the way it started off with Winnipeg on their opening possession going to a 7-0 lead, and now all of a sudden after that it's been 32-1 for the Alouettes, and Tracy Ham with enough time to get outside, and you know, he knows he's got a free play right here, so he throws it up and hopes his guy can make a great catch, which he did. But Tracy Ham's smart enough to know that he felt that there was going to be an offside against Winnipeg, and he could take a chance that his guy would make the play. That's a nice catch. Now, what do you do? Isn't this great when you have depth like this? Mike Pringle, you know, obviously would be playing if he was healthy, but I mean, to have a guy like Tyrone Rush come in and do the job that he has done must make Bob Price feel pretty good about his players.
His quarterback has been superb tonight, and it doesn't seem to matter who he's got in the backfield.
Well, you know, you apropos to that, John, I think you have to look at the offensive line. I mean, this is a great line that pass protects very, very well. They run block well, and you know, you can do things like this, have a 2-play 52-yard drive, and you know, they've totally dominated this game. But when you look at Tyrone Rush fitting in, I think the offensive line is a big factor why.
Here's Freeman Basinger to return for Winnipeg. Out across the 45.
Terry Baker's kick returned by Freeman Basinger, and
Ken Austin at the controls for the Bombers with the starting quarterback McDougall on the sidelines. And I think he short-hopped that for Myron Wise. It is no catch. Interesting opportunity here for Austin. He may not win this football game, but he really has to show a little bit right now. He has to move the Bombers and get some points back.
Well, I think what he is clearly thinking now is, hey, it's 32-8. I can't worry about that. What I need to do is really work on my timing and try and get ready from a week from now.
2nd and 10, Winnipeg. At the 46. Austin throwing on the run. High, but the catch is made. Myron Wise will have a first down.
And really, to get Austin in the groove, his receivers are going to have to make some good catches. You know, Walby's out. Van Konat's moved from center to right tackle. That is a huge adjustment. But watch the job he does on Grant Carter right there. That is a good job. When Carter decides to take the inside, he is there to make the play.
Bombers pick up 19. Austin connecting with Myron Wise. 3-minute warning is up at Winnipeg Stadium for the Alouettes in comfortable control in this one. TSN boxing special coming your way on Sunday at 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern time. Tyson Holyfield getting ready.
Tyson has not had a lot of nice things to say about Evander Holyfield, and I would think that he would like to make this one as short as his last one with Shelton.
It'll go a little longer.
I think it will.
Austin had a first down on his last pass. 19-yard gain. Good play action fake, but he can't get away. Now the ball is whipped loose and is recovered by Winnipeg near the 45.
And it's Grant Carter that makes the play. I mean, you know, you think play action may slow some guys down, but watch Grant Carter at the top here. And play action does nothing to slow him down here. He's just like he's shot out of a cannon. They fake the draw, but he gets around Guy Earl so quickly. Former teammate of his a year ago in Baltimore, knocks the ball loose. Well, you know what Carter's thinking about tonight. He trails Snipes by 1. We had a graphic up earlier, and Snipes was 16, but in effect he has 15. You know, Carter's thinking if he can get 1 and then maybe 1 more, he might have that title.
Sack title could be on the line tonight.
I'll tell you what, that'd do something at contract time, I'm sure.
Alvin Hunter, though, is in the running, too. Mike Richardson carried the ball. Hunter obviously can't catch. He's finished for the season. The Eskimos have a bye.
If he can, the inquiry light's going to go on.
There you go. Eskimos do have the weekend bye. So it's between Carter here and Snipes of the Bombers, and they'll settle it on this turf tonight.
I'll tell you what, he can get to that spot 6 yards back of a center in a hurry, can get Grant Carter. Talk about a guy who plays with intensity.
There's Angelo. And here's Bob Cameron,
who becomes the backup emergency quarterback tonight with McDougall out and Austin's a little nicked up.
Willis Pike dropped that one and wisely regained possession. 2 yards on the return, 37 on the punt, so the Alouettes will start deep in Montreal territory. Pretty interesting first half for the Alouettes. Touchdown, touchdown, single, touchdown, field goal, touchdown.
That's a lot of possessions in one half of play. There's still 2 minutes to go. They have another one, so this is going to be their 8th possessions. That's a lot of possessions for one half. It's pretty good production to go along with it. It's good to see Nigel Williams, 88, at the bottom of your screen back in. I mean, it looked as though he had really hurt his knee, but luckily for him, he's back in there.
Look at Tyrone Rush. Ran right over the Bomber safety. Greg Freres.
Well, you know, the theory always was against a 3-4 defense, which Winnipeg plays, is to try and run at the bubbles, to hit the bubbles. And the bubbles are on either side of the nose tackle where the linebackers are. That's exactly where Rush cuts back, against that bubble where the linebacker should be that wasn't there.
Finally grabbed by Charlie Clemens. The gain is 21. Rush again. This time, Katie Williams is there.
Just has tremendous quickness, lateral movement. Here he is right here, and you know, you figure Rush is coming all the way for here. Get a good look at a linebacker's footwork. Watch his feet. You know, he never really crosses them until he's ready, and then he's square up to the tackler. He doesn't miss too many times.
Rush is averaging 7.8 yards a carry here tonight. Flag is down and hand misses. Looks like it'll be a holding call against Dixon. On Snipes.
On Snipes, sometimes that's the only way you're going to slow him down.
Holding. Montreal number 64. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Minute 14 to go to halftime as Baker steps in. Nice average tonight. 52 yards. Freeman Basinger, the Bombers, back at the Winnipeg 41.
Well, you saw Baker's first punt, 52 yards. I mean, he's having a terrific year at 44.1. That will help his average as he goes for that punting title.
Basinger takes it on the run. Just across midfield and down at the Montreal 54.
You know, John, it's interesting looking at Baker. I said that early in the year this may be a question mark. Well, he is no longer a question mark. He's had a heck of a year. He trails Paulus Balduson by 0.2 in the punting title, and his kicks tonight will certainly maybe get him ahead. But you know what I like about him? He is the leader in net punting average at 37.2. He's a full yard and a half ahead of everybody, and that's what the coaches look at. What are teams getting net against our cover teams? And he is the best in the league.
Austin on first down for Winnipeg. Basinger laid out, couldn't bring it home.
Austin's pass intended for Freeman Basinger was
And he's had a great year. He and I talked before the game, and I said, I know the part you like is the fact that you're going to win that net punting title, and he's very proud of that.
second man came Winnipeg from the Montreal.
Baker nailed 5 the last time these teams met.
Well, he's at 80% in his field goal, so, talk about a guy that's getting both jobs done with a great deal of efficiency.
Second and 10, Winnipeg. Austin won't get it away. We're tied. Grant Carter has a sack, and that's number 15 on the season. However, there's a marker down, so wait before Carter can celebrate.
I can tell you, Grant Carter's heart is in his throat right now, waiting to sort this one out.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg 57. Third down.
That's on Brett McNeil, so the sack will count. Yes, it's going to count, and we've got a tie ball game with Grant Carter and Angelo Snipes, and don't think both players aren't very aware of that. There's Grant Carter, and the feature on this pass rush is speed. I mean, little hesitation, he beats Blaze Bryant and then doubles back.
He might have been licking his chops a little bit with Walby being forced to the Winnipeg dressing room. Well, it'd make life a little bit easier down there with the adjustments the Bombers have to make on that line.
I'm sure he was. There they are. This is updated to the minute. Melvin Hunter will not factor in that, so it's between these two players on the field tonight.
Cameron's punt. Bouncing to Fights. Squirted through for extra yards somehow. With 46 seconds to go, the Alouettes are right around midfield. Well, a little bit shy, but within 10 yards.
John, you look at that graphic between Grant Carter and Angelo Snipes, and they're tied. And, you have to like Grant Carter's chances in this game maybe a little better than Snipes. I mean, Kent Austin is here's Carter at 15. I like his chances simply because I think Austin may be an easier guy to sack than for Angelo Snipes to have to try and get Tracy Ham tonight. So I would
think that's money well spent there if you were putting a slight wager on Carter winning this derby here tonight.
Yeah, he's a good guy, too. We had a nice chat before the game. Tremendous enthusiasm for this game of football.
Rush, grab from behind by Doug Peterson, by Clemens, rather.
Well, the Montreal Alouettes have played themselves a pretty solid first half with a 32-8 lead as we wind it down in the second quarter. And, for a head coach like Bob Price, his first head coaching assignment in a game that doesn't mean a lot, I'm sure he's pretty happy to see how his team has come out and performed on a pretty cold night.
On second down,
Tracy Ham's pass intended for
Mario Henry was the intended receiver.
And I would think you might see Dan Crowley, the backup quarterback, would get a little playing time in the second half. And
likely be a wise move for a lot of reasons. Tracy does look playoff ready, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And there's Dan Crowley right there. Only thrown 2 balls this year. But what an interesting graphic. 254 yards of offense in one half. Pretty balanced attack they've put together tonight.
Baker to Basinger on third down.
Well, you talk about your net. Good punt, no return. He's got a lot on
net. 32, he didn't get quite the bounce he needed.
That's going to hurt his net average. He doesn't look too happy about that.
Totaling that up and saying that messed everything up.
Hey, geez, I'm looking for a tear here. Either that or he's just cold. Terry, it's not that bad. It was only 32 yards. I mean, it's not like you shanked it or anything.
He was an original pick by the old Montreal Alouettes in 1984. Terry Baker. Bombers were short a player. Austin went to the bench.
See, they're in trouble.
Someone in.
Yeah, it's Darius Watson who's their nickelback on defense. I mean, they've got injury problems, no question. Walby's down and Gulliford gets thrown
Ejected,
out.
yep.
And Gulliford's going to probably get a league fine for that. And I'll bet she's going to get another one from his boss.
Bryant with 14 seconds. Till halftime. Blaze Bryant 21, Michael Richardson 31, 2 running backs coming out of the Bomber backfield. And it wasn't very effective last week when Cal Murphy tried it for the first time. Bryant had 8 carries for 25 yards. Richardson 6 for 24.
Yeah, I mean, 49 yards between them is just not a lot, but you know, in fairness, they got behind in that game against Ottawa, and here they're behind by 24 tonight, so the running game kind of is plan B at this stage.
The Bombers have a lot to do on their plan B as Bob Price and the Alouettes head to the dressing room at halftime with a 32-8 lead on Cal Murphy's Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
CFL Live at the Half. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Well, I tell you, going into the playoffs, the Montreal Alouettes are looking extremely strong. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers better get used to the cold. They're going to Commonwealth. But before we talk about this football game, let's talk about the Commissioner, Larry Smith. We had him on for the half-hour pregame show previously to this contest. We asked the Commissioner, would he be back as the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League? Marty, do you think they'll give him an opportunity to come back?
Well, Darren, I think the clubs are really split on the whole issue. The Western clubs are very unhappy with what happened in BC and Ottawa this year and the money that they had to lend to Montreal. The Eastern teams are very supportive of Larry Smith. David McDonald, who's the vice chairman of the CFL and the co-owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, is a staunch supporter of Larry Smith, and he wants to make sure that Larry comes back. And right now, I guess McDonald would have to be the #1 most influential owner in the league.
I can't believe this. Les Brown had his window of opportunity all year long. This is the 40th telecast we've done, and I think in each and every one, at some point in time, you've picked on the officials. You had your chance. What happened, Les?
Oh, I don't know. We ran out of time. That's what happened. Because I definitely wanted to ask Larry Smith about what he was going to do about the refereeing this year, because the refereeing had been kind of faulty a little bit this year, which calls were made that really influenced the game. And I thought that maybe we could talk about maybe a little bit of instant replay or maybe or some evaluation of the referees this year, because there's some that's been around for, like I said, 17 years or longer, and they're still messing up.
I think when it comes to instant replay, I think I can answer that for the Commissioner. Not in the budget, baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Not in the budget. What about you, Coach? So what were your observations?
Oh, I thought Commissioner Smith handled himself quite well and made some comments that, you know, people probably wanted to hear, and brought us up to date on quite a few issues. But one thing that I didn't get a chance to ask him that I thought about is that I wanted to ask him if he felt like he had the necessary power as the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League in making the decisions that the Commissioner has to make, and sometimes making unilateral decisions, or is he hamstrung with the Board of Governors and so forth, that type of thing?
Bob, 2 points. I thought that maybe we missed the boat by not asking about John Tory. John Tory has been credited by many in the league as really being the glue that's kept the league together, and there's a very good chance that the chairman, John Tory, is going to leave after the season, and I think that'd be a huge loss.
Yes, they've worked together quite well, really. Those two have complemented each other quite well, I think.
The other thing I was glad to hear that they're going to not have, or that they're going to continue having an interlocking schedule. I think that was vital. I think without an interlocking schedule, it would have been a little bit too bush.
Well, you know what? Winnipeg would rather stay out of the East, judged upon the score in this first half. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the nominees for the Most Outstanding Player Award in the CFL. This is the CFL Live on TSN. Stay tuned. Back with more in just a few moments. With TSN, you're always live and interactive. Here are your current QB1 standings.
Still never done one of these.
Now, earlier this week, it was announced each and every club came up with their nominees for the year-end awards. Let's take a look at the Outstanding Player category. The competition is going to be remarkably stiff and tight. Some outstanding players in both the East and the West. Doug Flutie from Toronto, Tracy Ham from Montreal, Matt Cody from Hamilton, Kenny Wilhite from Ottawa. From the West, you've got Alan Pitts, Willie Plesh from the Edmonton Eskimos, Katie Williams from Winnipeg, Robert Mims from Saskatchewan, and Mike Trevathan from the BC Lions. Coach, when all is said and done, who do you foresee winning this award? Will it be Doug Flutie with his unprecedented 5th?
Yes, I don't see how Doug can't win that award, but I'll tell you what, Tracy Ham's playing extremely well right now, and unfortunately some of these awards are voted on before the playoff games are finished, so you know, it would be an unfortunate thing, but Doug has done an awful lot for the Toronto Argonauts football team. Well,
he's done a lot for the league as well. Let's be honest. He's the marquee player in the league. But
wait a minute, Marty. Come on.
I got a but. I mean, I'd have to take Tracy Ham. But I know the Football Reporters of Canada are going to take Doug Flutie. There's no question. What I'm more interested in right now is who's going to represent the West. I picked Mims. Because I think he's been sensational.
I picked Robert Mims hands down. You know, he's a comeback player of the year, and his story itself should win him that award. I mean, not the award, but should win him the opportunity to go up against Doug Flutie.
Now, you don't think Willie Plesh should be in there, huh?
No. Well, you know, I don't really see Willie Plesh as being the outstanding player in Edmonton. I mean, you got Benny Goods and you got Malvin Hunter, who have done excellent this year in playing that position and putting pressure on quarterbacks and making Willie Plesh have an easy season.
I think we're unanimous in thinking that Robert Mims should come out of the West. He has had an outstanding year, and he's helped that football team a lot.
Boy, you talked about Willie Plesh, and you talked about Malvin Hunter. You forgot to mention Glenn Rogers Jr. or Kavis Reed for the Edmonton Eskimos. They've all had fine seasons. It's hard to pick a defensive player for the Edmonton Eskimos, but they come up with Willie Plesh again. You've also got Marvin Coleman from Calgary, Angelo Snipes, who we're watching tonight from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Bobby Jurison from Saskatchewan, Mr. Chapman from BC, Reggie Gibbons from Toronto in the East, Tracy Gravely from Montreal, Michael Philbrick, and Lamar McGriggs from the Ottawa Rough Riders. I pose the question to you again, Mr. Obilovich. When all is said and done, who will be the outstanding defensive player in this? You
know, I've liked Marvin Coleman all year as a defensive back, and the other things he does for that football team, you know, I really think he's a good one for them. And but just purely as a defensive player, maybe that's where you'd get an argument, but he's awfully good at his position. And Tracy Gravely's had a heck of a year for the Montreal team. I think he may be the guy.
Were you guys surprised that it was Tracy Gravely coming out of Montreal instead of Grant Carter?
Yes.
Because we were talking about Carter and what a sensational season he's had, and then out comes Gravely.
Well, you know, Tracy Gravely has, if you want to talk about tackles, and probably why Edmonton picked Willie Plesh, Tracy Gravely is leading the league in tackles.
Right.
So you really got to go with him, I guess, over the guy who's got maybe 15 sacks, you know. And then I think out of the West, you got to go with Angelo Snipes.
I'll tell you, I like Marvin Coleman as well out of the West. I agree with Bob on that. And in the East...
You got to be consistent now. Who was your guy in the West?
Who's my guy in the West? I don't know. You're putting me on the spot.
Williams.
Oh, well, but Katie Williams didn't even get the defensive player nomination. If he'd have got the defensive player nomination, there's no question in it. But I like Marvin Coleman, and I think I talked about him a little bit during the course of the season as well, being a valuable player on that team. In the East...
You know what? In all honesty, I mean, the way these votes go, and you know yourself, Marty, Willie Plesh has been an institution in this league as a winner of awards, so whether or not one of these young fellas, newcomers, upcomers, can beat him out remains to be seen.
Regardless of what we're saying here, Willie Plesh is the favorite to win it.
Right.
I like in the East, this is a bit of a surprise, I like McGriggs. Now, I know he was only playing half the season, but he was a dominant force on that Ottawa defense. I think he's the best new player in the CFL, and I'd like to see him win it, but he won't.
You know what? Having said that, we've seen a lot of very good new players in the Canadian Football League. Now, it's a busy night in the world of sports. Let's bring you completely up to date as we head into the TSN newsroom for this sports break. Welcome back to our CFL Live Control studio. The score, and I guess the statistics, very indicative of the score itself. Winnipeg being dominated by the Montreal Alouettes. As we take a look at your first half stats, they are brought to you by Subway. How about your first downs? 11-9, not too bad. Passing 134 yards compared to 103. Rushing, it's not even close. Tyrone Rush, running the ball at will. 120 yards for the Montreal Alouettes, just 18 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Your net yards, 254 to 118. Turnovers so far, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with 1. The Montreal Alouettes, take a look at their plus-minus. They're very good at hanging on to the football. Time of possession, relatively equal. But Tracy Ham with 3 touchdown passes, 2 of those going to John Climby. The end result, 32-8 at the half for the Alouettes. There's either a laser show going on at Winnipeg Stadium or Cal Murphy's really chewing out his club and the sparks are flying. Back in a moment.
Tough night for the Bombers so far, but something to celebrate in Winnipeg. That was the flag leap that they had in the infield at the Summer Olympic Games in Atlanta. It's here in Winnipeg to help kick off the Pan American Games, which are 990 days away. Pan Am Games coming to Winnipeg for the second time in 1999. And MTS, the announced official sponsor here tonight, throwing in $4 million to help with underwriting the cost of the game.
Well, John, you saw a shot of Alfred Payton. He was a one-man wrecking crew as Chris Walby will go out of the game. That's a fumble recovery he had earlier, but in trying to block Alfred Payton on a pass rush, his knee caved in underneath him right there, and then he went out on the card. Another look at it, Payton around the side, and Walby's knee just gives way.
And on the very same play, the Bombers' starting quarterback, Kevin McDougall, went down. He has an ankle sprain. Walby has a knee injury that they have not been able to determine how serious it really is. They're assessing it right now in the Bomber dressing room. Second half underway. Nice return out across the 45.
Troy Westwood's kick returned by Mario Henry.
Mario Henry, number 83.
Wade Miller in on the tackle.
And this is not surprising that Dan Crowley is going to get some work in the second half. You talked about it. Career 3 of 11 for 24 yards. He has not thrown a touchdown.
Those numbers 1 of 2 of this year.
For 3 yards, but he hasn't thrown an interception in 96. However, he's only tossed it twice. Tyrone Rush squeezed through for a couple. Alouettes ran the ball very effectively in the first half with Tyrone Rush. Tracy Ham was very efficient, tossing a couple more touchdown passes to tie Doug Flutie to the lead in that department in the CFL, touchdown passes.
Tracy Ham finishes with a terrific season with 27 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, and gives way to Dan Crowley here, which is, I think, a good move. Dan Crowley with the Baltimore Stallions a year ago, and you saw his career numbers, 3 of 11 this year, only 2 attempts.
Time count violation, Montreal number 9.
Called against the quarterback. Alouettes warming up for the Hamilton Tiger Cats next weekend at Olympic Stadium in the Eastern semifinal. The Bombers trying to get ready for a battle in Edmonton against the Eskimos in the Western semifinal. Through his mitts, Dennis Montana couldn't hang on. Chance for Lyons for his second interception of the season.
And it's tough for Denny Montana. You know, this is his second start, got the assignment a week ago, and young player, their first-round pick. Chance for him to show what he can do, and he simply should have had that one. I mean, this is a terrific opportunity for him, and he's got to take advantage of it.
Baker gets behind this one. Basinger takes it on the run. Nice tackle upfield by John Kalin. Bombers get it back. Ken Austin back at the controls in Winnipeg when we return. Stadium. What have you spotted down there, Leaf?
I've spotted Greg Musselman, our crack sideline reporter.
All right.
And as we pan down to him, he's got some updates on some injuries.
Well, it's been a frustrating night for the Bombers, not only the scoreboard, but as you mentioned, starting quarterback Kevin McDougall has a sprained left ankle. He's not going to be back tonight. And Chris Walby just talked to the doctor, the Bombers team doctor, saying that they're still assessing his knee, possible ligament damage. And back up to you guys.
All right, Greg and the Bombers with Austin behind the center. Our first down. Austin has Boyko out at midfield. Boyko into the game with Eric Gulliford tossed out for objectionable conduct in the first half.
And a good throw by Ken Austin. You know, he reads zone right away, and that means he's got to put the ball into the hole in between linebackers and defensive backs. He puts it into the hole, and Boyko gets into that hole and finds it and makes the catch.
Boyko picks up 16. The Bombers set up a yard shy of midfield. Blaze Bryant, nice turn of speed, gets outside for a couple. Oh, more than a couple, actually. He's got 9. The old frostbiter is fired up here. They better take that to Edmonton for next weekend.
I'll tell you what, there is a lot of guys that are fighting for a spot around the old frostbiter right there.
These folks deserve one. A frost fighter.
They don't need it. They're dressed for it. Yeah, that's snow.
And a little bit here, but that was earlier in the week. Bryant again, he'll have plenty for the first down. Nice to see an attendance of 25,968 at Winnipeg Stadium.
That's a real credit to the fans here in Winnipeg. The game means nothing. It's a very chilly night, but they are here to support their Bombers, and I think they should be commended for that.
Here's a positive sign, and Winnipeg announced this week that the Bombers will make a slight profit on their football operations in 1996.
And that in spite the fact that they're not going to get any money from television revenue, so I think that's quite impressive.
Very successful campaign for season tickets. Now that doesn't eliminate the deficit here by any stretch of the imagination, but making a buck or two is a positive sign.
Offside. Montreal number 94.
Doug Peterson.
You know, I think Cal Murphy, what he probably talked about with his offense at halftime, he and Mike Kelly, the offensive coordinators, you know, it's 32-8. Let's not worry about the score. Let's just try and have a good, solid half on offense and, you know, get ready for next week. And that means getting the running game going as well.
Blaze Bryant, another nice run for Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think they really have to see what this running back tandem can give them for a week from now with Michael Richardson and Blaze Bryant. And, you know, if they have a great half and they ever found themselves back in this game, so be it. But I think now more important to just try and do some things well and build up some momentum for next week.
Boyko to the near side. That's Wise to the far side of the field. Austin comes in this direction. And Sean Graham can't hang on, number 88.
Well, Sean Graham's a good size at 6'3", 209, and, you know, he just has difficulty bending over to make this catch. I mean, that's catchable ball, and we've seen that happen tonight a little bit to both teams. You know, if he wants Ken Austin to go to him, he better make some catches, because Ken Austin's a guy with a pretty good memory, and he won't go to you if you're not making those plays.
2nd and 10 for Austin now. And it's picked up by Bryant. Has a blocker in front, has a nice wedge leading the way. Austin is the lone player back who can catch him, and Bryant is gone. A 90-yard interception return by Jason Bryant. His 2nd interception of the season. And the Bluebirds are not happy in Winnipeg.
Well, simply, Blaze Bryant did not look for the football right there on the hot pattern with the blitz, and Jason Bryant found it Austin threw a little behind him, but still the running back didn't look. It cost his team a touchdown. Austin may have had a chance to make the tackle, but he did the smart thing and just didn't bother with it.
Bryant missed an opportunity earlier in this game for an interception, but this one is much bigger and more rewarding as he takes it all the way. 90 yards for the touchdown. Safe to say the Alouettes are feeling rather comfortable right now. They gave up the first touchdown of the game but haven't looked back since. It's 39-8 now. CFL Live from Winnipeg. Not a great night for Blue Bombers or Blue Bomber fans.
Well, Ken Austin feels the blitz coming from the backside. This is Blaze Bryant here, and here's Jason Bryant here. As Bryant runs the quick look in, I mean, Austin wants to hit the hot quickly. Now, he throws it behind him, but Bryant's never looking, and that's pretty easy interception. Goes for a touchdown. Miscommunication.
Freeman Basinger out across the 35 on the kickoff return. 16th interception tossed up by Ken Austin. So far this season, he's only thrown 7 touchdowns.
You know, you look at takeaway and giveaway category. Winnipeg historically a team that's usually on the plus side, and this year now they're at a -5 rate on the whole season.
That's a pretty horrible number right there, isn't it?
Well, it is, and when you consider that Montreal now is up around +26, that could be the real difference in what your season is like.
Bombers beginning right on the 35. Blaze Bryant wrapped up by Peterson.
And stopped by Doug Peterson.
Tracy Gravely leading the league coming into tonight with 102 tackles, and you know, he has had just a terrific season. Watch how he slithers down the line of scrimmage to make the play. A little help from Doug Peterson, but you know, Tracy Gravely, one of those in-betweeners, former defensive back that made the move to linebacker.
And he is the Alouettes nomination. His top defensive player, markers down. Austin rifles one in. It's a jump ball. There were 3 Alouettes who had a chance.
I think Ken Austin figured he had a free play, so throw it into traffic, although he's been known to throw it into traffic this year a little bit.
And Gravely got his mitts on it first.
Offside, Montreal 57.
1, 2.
About 5 people touched it. The end result is Peyton's offside. It's second in a little bit.
Didn't matter a bit. Bombers at the 42. Blaze Bryant.
He was brought down by...
You know, John, you always look at who may have the upper hand, the offensive line or the defensive line, and in this case, that front four of Montreal at this point has dominated the Winnipeg offensive line. Guys like Doug Peterson are playing so hard, and what a tandem. You get Carter and Peyton on the outside, good push up the middle from Doug Peterson. All of a sudden, you've got yourself a good front four against the run and an even better front four against the pass.
Well, and Walby out of there helps the Montreal cause quite a bit, too.
You bet.
Bryant again. Nowhere this time. Ex-Bomber Paul Randolph on the tackle there.
Well, they used to call him Mr. Blue Bomber when he was with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Paul Randolph, and here he is. He just steps up, and as Bryant comes back on the counter, he's right there to meet him. I mean, this is a guy that, you know, fell out of favor here and goes to Montreal and doesn't skip a beat. They just can't block him. Guy Earl misses him, and Randolph's in the backfield to make the play.
2nd and 11. Austin has Boyko. Boyko can't get away. Tracy Gravely again.
Yeah, what's wrong with that play is that's a good first down play. That's not a great 2nd and long play. And it's pretty easy for a guy like Tracy Gravely to sit back in zone and react to the football as this defense has done all night long. That's not going to get you too many first downs on 2nd and 10. Especially with the best tackler in the league out there.
Cameron is in. He'll punt from near his 34. Louis Fight, who's had a couple of great returns tonight, waits at his 25. Big kick by Cameron. Fight retreating to the 20. And nowhere this time. Solid special team work by the Blue Bombers. Limits the return to 3. Winnipeg in deep trouble at home tonight. Big game at McGill Stadium tomorrow. The Golden Gales against the Redmen. Who'll win it? I'm not sure. Join us for it. There's an ex-Golden Gale, Jock Climby.
I did that game. That was the playoff game out in Saskatoon.
I was there too. Yeah. I now remember it.
Oh,
I guess Jock here.
I guess if I was there, you were there. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Jock has 2 touchdowns here tonight. Dan Crowley at the controls for Montreal now. Tracy Ham is resting, and here's Jock again.
Jock must
well
have known.
timed.
He must have known we were talking about him. You know, that's going to be a fun game tomorrow at Queens and McGill. That's a great stadium.
We did a game there a few years back, too.
Yes, we did.
That was a cold day. That was the day we did an opening that lasted about an hour and 20 minutes.
I know. And is that because we were bad? Anyway, that's a pretty good throw by Dan Crowley. That's a tough throw to make. And Jock Climby with a good catch once again. You know, I do look forward to the Canadian University football. I'm going to do the Atlantic Bowl down in Halifax on the 16th. TSN will have that for you, and the Churchill Bowl that day. And Michael Landsberg will join me. I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, we will have the Vanier Cup that will be the climax to yet another good Canadian intercollegiate football season.
Montreal first down. At the 34, Crowley stands in and finds his man. Armstrong has a first down out of the 45. So Crowley has been learning lessons well on the sideline.
Well, again, you know, he's this offensive line. Look at the protection. He's allowed to step up into the pocket and really put some velocity on that football. And Chris Armstrong with just his second catch of the game, and you know, he's looking for those 57 yards to get him over 1,000. We will keep track of that.
Tyrone Rush is strung out. Updating Armstrong. A couple for 34.
23.
The man say?
Well, 23 yards away for Chris Armstrong, and you know, a lot of teams do, and some teams don't keep aware of these things on the sidelines. Probably Chris Armstrong's pretty aware of what
I know he knows.
Is. You know, it's funny. I remember I led the Eastern receiving in 1979, and I knew late in the game in Montreal I needed a catch to break a tie to win the receiving title, and I kind of reminded our quarterback in the huddle, throw me quick out, and I admit it, I did remind him because the game meant nothing.
Early movement. So that play whistled down with 5:22 to go, third quarter.
Offside, Winnipeg number 44.
Katie Williams hangs his head, tries to poke some sense into it.
It's good you haven't called him Katie Lang yet tonight.
I haven't mentioned him very often either.
Is that on purpose? You know, I guess one thing you look at Katie Williams that I have trouble figuring out is how he's the most outstanding player, and yet he was not voted their defensive player. Angelo Snipes was. You figure that one out.
It was tough balloting in Winnipeg, no doubt. Armstrong, not quite at 1,000 yet. Out near the 50-yard line. About a 5-yard reception.
Well, here he is, and he's working hard to get to that 1,000. He'd love to be there. Not much of a pattern, but enough to make a catch in front of Gerald Vaughn.
Third down. Baker keeps it low. Basinger at his 15. Solid special teams tackling by the Alouettes. And let's bring in Greg Musselman.
Okay, thanks, John. We've got with us Bombers injured linebacker Greg Clark suffered a collarbone injury against the Ottawa Rough Riders last week. Also had a couple of interceptions. Greg, got to be a disappointing night, especially heading into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, it's very disappointing, especially, you know, we're playing at home. We're trying to get into the, well, we're in the playoffs, and we have a playoff next week, and we're not playing up to par. We're killing ourselves.
Montreal has had success tonight running the ball and the short passes as well. That's something that you've taken away from most teams this season.
Yeah, I don't really understand. We have press coverage, and you know, you have guys running loose all night. I mean, just, you know, as if nobody's on the field. So I don't understand what's going on. I'm not sure.
I'm sure, though, they're going to be ready to go once you take on the Eskimos. It's going to be a war, I'm sure, in Edmonton.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, it should be a war here tonight. I don't know what's going on, but we definitely have to pick up our game next week, especially if we want to continue this ride.
And you're going to be there?
Definitely, most definitely.
Back up to Leaf and John.
All right, it'll be a second down and 4-yard situation for Winnipeg now. Richardson. And I don't think he got the first down.
Well, this running game, you know, sometimes predicated by solid lead blocking, and not so sure they're getting that right now. Doug Peterson's a guy who, you know, has had a heck of a game tonight. I'm really impressed with the intensity level that the Montreal Alouettes have shown tonight. When this game means nothing, 94 Peterson will spin back and get the initial hit on Michael Richardson, but this Montreal team, for not a lot on the line, has really been geared up to have a good effort. That's a tribute to Bob Price and Scott Spurgeon, the special teams coach to his left.
Cameron averaging 40.7 tonight. Just got that one away. White has it skipped by him. Got a big block as Robson went down. Who found Kevin Robson there? It was a great block.
A return of 12 yards.
I'm not sure who made the block, but you're going to see 43 Kevin Robson right in the middle of your screen. It might be Alan Wetmore at 39, and he absolutely unloaded. Was Alan Wetmore.
He an ex-Bomber. Played a couple of years in Winnipeg.
There he is. It's fun to go back and describe how you did it. I never was able to do that.
I thought I remembered your block.
Yes, you've mentioned that over the 10 years that you and I have worked together. You've mentioned that probably 10 times.
I would think at least once a year.
And you know how much I appreciate that too.
It was a beauty.
So long ago, I don't even remember it.
Montreal, first and 5.
Alouettes will be first and 5, 2:37 to go in the third quarter. Crowley in relief of Ham, who's resting happily on the sidelines. Tipped away by Garrett. Armstrong was the intended receiver, and that might have done it. Put him over the 1,000 yards.
Well, at what he's only 16 away. That would have definitely done it. I'm not so sure the ball was tipped. Good play action. Look what it did to Charlie Clemens. Totally froze him, and we'll see if we get a finger on it. No, he just flat out dropped it.
He got a hand in front there. I thought he might have tipped it a bit, but he distracted Armstrong. Quite legally. Second and 5. Tyrone Rush, and there's nowhere there.
John Kropke got some tremendous penetration to make that play. One of the unsung heroes on this Bomber defense, and pretty much that was his role with Ottawa when he spent all those seasons there as well. Not a lot of credit, but somehow he just seems to be a guy that just makes plays.
So Baker in again. Punting situation. Montreal comfortably in the lead of the Blue Bombers at 39-8. Big Baker has slipped a little below his average. Raymond Basinger. He dropped one earlier, and Montreal recovered, went in to score a touchdown.
And he was brought down by Paul.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. And by Advantage Long Distance Services, providing solutions for business.
Minute 23 to go, third quarter. Long night for the Blue Bombers. Austin has this one tipped. I think they're listening in Toronto back there. It looks like it's going to be a long afternoon next week in Edmonton for these Blue Bombers. Any thoughts, guys?
John, I think, you know, you're not seeing the complement of their best players in this game with Greg Clark and some of those guys out of the lineup. But, you know, we knew going into the game that Winnipeg was going to have their hands full, especially if they couldn't move the ball on offense, and they're not doing much of that tonight.
Second and 10 here. And that play whistled down quickly.
But Montreal definitely is playing with a lot of intensity. Their defense is especially.
You know, I think you have to be impressed with that. I made the comment a few moments ago with nothing on the line. And, you know, your old coach Dave Ritchie and I chatted before the game, and I said, Coach, you're going to find out on a night like this who your players are. And I think his players have made a tremendous statement that this team, regardless of what's at stake, has played terrific.
You know what, Leaf? You know who I'm really impressed with? And this guy has been a slow starter, but Tracy Gravely is really coming on as a ball player. And I see why they picked him as their defensive player of the year.
Well, he's my pick, too. I think he's had a heck of a year. And, you know, it's tough for those in-between guys. Jason Bryant is the similar type. You know, safeties that have moved to linebacker, and both these guys are good against the run. I think that's what impresses me as much as anything.
You know, another thing that's really impressive about the Montreal Alouettes is they don't beat themselves. They're going to be ahead of Calgary in the plus-minus area after this game.
Well, that's true, Obi. You know, I think they're at plus 26 or 27 right now on the season. Calgary's at plus 26, so they may, in fact, take that lead.
Austin goes deep here. And he has a connection. That's Darius Watson, who's been forced into the Bomber offensive scheme with injuries and suspensions from this game. Darius Watson comes up with a big catch here.
Well, the key is he locates the football, and he's able to make the adjustment to it, working back underneath Doug Kraft. See how he just times it perfectly, and, you know, by the time Kraft locates it, he can't react to it, and, you know, that's a heck of a play for a defensive player. I suspect that sometime in his career he has played a little wide receiver as easily as he made that catch.
40-yard gain, Winnipeg first and 10. Blaze Bryant, wrapped up by Payton.
Hey, Hope, do you not get the feeling from a coaching standpoint that, you know, Winnipeg came out in the second half and just said, the heck with the score. We've got to try and see if this kind of tandem of Michael Richardson and Blaze Bryant can work and get our running game going.
Yeah, I think they tried that last week as well, and you mentioned it in the last game, Leaf, that that didn't seem to really be something that they tried to do. In fact, in that last game, their defense scores 3 touchdowns. Their offense has really got to be a major concern to Cal Murphy going into the playoffs.
Gentlemen, what I find interesting in looking at the team today is, you know, coming into this game now and including tonight, they've scored 38 touchdowns on the season. They've scored 9 of those have been by the defense, and 1 was a block punt for a touchdown, so almost 25% of their total touchdowns scored have been scored by the defense or special teams, and I think that's quite phenomenal.
The Bombers didn't score a touchdown last week in Ottawa. 9 points from the kicker, and the rest came from interception returns.
I think you have to give a lot of credit to the job that their defensive coordinator, Mike Roach, has done this year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Their defense has carried that team for most of the year, and I think Les mentioned it in the last telecast about how well their secondaries played for the most part. But tonight, I think they're saving themselves for the Eskimos.
This should be the last play of quarter 3.
Let's hope that's the case.
Austin behind his target, and there was a chance for Irv Smith to grab it. So Austin is struggling again, and the Bombers are down 39-8 after 3 quarters at Winnipeg Stadium. Kent Austin did not start this ball game for the Blue Bombers. Kevin McDougall did. Austin is not having a terrific night. 5 of 13, 78 yards, 1 interception. Went for a touchdown, 90 yards, and more frustration exhibited there.
Yeah, he's not a guy that will walk off the field and you're wondering what he's thinking. Most of the time you kind of know what's on his mind by his reactions out there.
Cameron is in. 4th quarter ready to begin. This is Lewis Fights standing at attention. Back at his 10. He may not get a chance to play it. Does grab it for a yard and a half on the return, but that's about it. So the Bombers pin the Alouettes deep near the 10-yard line.
And I know the panel's still with us. Now, Marty, did you use up all your airtime in the half-hour pregame show? Are you still there?
No, Leif, I'm just trying to do my best impersonation of you and keeping as quiet as possible for a moment or two.
You know what, Marty? I know you and I discussed last weekend when I was in with you fellas about backup quarterbacks, and we've got to look at Dan Crowley now. He's getting some playing time in the second half, and I know you had some very definite thoughts on what Doug Flutie and maybe Don Matthews should be thinking about in their game this weekend, and maybe we'll get to that after this play.
Crowley handing out, and a rush is met by a rush of Blue Bombers. Numbers through the 3rd quarter here. 286 net yards for the Alouettes, 204 for Winnipeg.
Kind of interesting, 286 for Montreal. They had 254 at halftime.
So most of that belongs to Tracy.
Yes, it does. Marty, I know you're just storing up all this information after this play.
This will be 2nd and 10. Crowley gets a rush. Markers are down, and he got it away. Almost got a completion to Joey Yock, but Katie Williams was all over top of the Montreal quarterback, or all over him, I should say.
Well, you know, gentlemen, the Argos are saying that Doug Flutie's going to play the entire game again against Hamilton tomorrow. He played just about every down all season, including all the games that have really been meaningless in the last few games. And I'm wondering, why in the world do you want to risk the marquee player of the league? If you're the Argonauts, would you not want to sit him down, let Markell Fleetwood play a few downs at least tomorrow, and to do exactly what Montreal is doing today, and that is resting Tracy Ham so that he doesn't get any injuries?
They'll let him do that. They'll have Fleetwood in for part of the game, no doubt.
Well, I don't think they will. In fact, Les Brown talked to Doug Flutie yesterday, and he was saying that Doug is intending to play every single down. Is that right, Les?
Yep, that's what they told us at the press conference today.
Bet they changed their mind.
Well, it'd be smart if they did, John. They should have done it a long time ago.
Well, you know, it's an excellent opportunity to get Fleetwood some playing time. What if Doug gets hurt in the 1st quarter of the playoff game? I mean, just like they're doing with Crowley tonight, I think that's going to serve Montreal well next week against Hamilton in the playoff game. And that's an important factor, getting some snaps and winning the calls.
But also, do you look at it like this? That Doug Flutie and those guys have a week off. Maybe Doug wants to play that whole game, and then, you know, he's got the week off to get rested or healed, whatever bumps and bruises he might, you know, get in this game against Hamilton.
Well, you know, gentlemen, one thing we haven't discussed about that is head coach Don Matthews, and I know Don Matthews is a coach that likes his starting quarterback to play a lot, and I think he certainly has a big influence on what will occur, and I suspect that he may want Doug Flutie to play quite a bit.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's questionable strategy. Now, who am I to question Don Matthews with what he's done this year, of course, but, I mean, if Doug Flutie gets hurt, watch out. I think Montreal, by the way, has a chance to beat Toronto in the Eastern Final. no matter what, even healthy or not.
Oh, Hamilton's going to not appreciate that comment.
Not at all. I think Montreal will get by Hamilton. Don't you?
Here the Blue Bombers with a first down at the 35 after grabbing a couple of points on the safety touch. Austin on target. Boyko, first down. And Morris to the 55.
You know, it's interesting. I'm very non-committal on who may beat who, because I think it's all very even right now. You look at Anthony Cavillo, and I mean, this guy can get hot as a pistol and get on a roll. And I guess the only strong opinion that I have is I think the Eastern semifinal and the Eastern final are going to be terrific football games with a lot of anticipation leading up to them.
Do you think Hamilton has enough of a running attack?
It may not matter playing indoors.
Winnipeg first down at midfield. Austin missed.
If I can interject here for a moment, been quiet as a church mouse here.
And we like it that way.
I know, I hear you. But you know what? I really like Montreal. Obi had brought up the plus-minus for the Alouettes this season. They don't turn the ball over a lot. The Hamilton Tiger Cats do. Last time there, Cavillo threw for over 500 yards in the football game and still ended up losing. I don't know if Hamilton could play any better than they did the last time they were in Montreal, and yet it was still a loss for that football team. I think Montreal in their ground game will still prevail.
This is 2nd and 10. Austin gets some heat. Got it away. Darius Watson makes the catch, his 2nd of the game.
To take it one step further, gentlemen, don't you agree that Tracy Ham is playing absolutely brilliant football during the course of this second half? 3 touchdowns tonight. He's got 28 on the season. And you know what, Lee? Take a look at the receiving corps. You well know he does not have an outstanding receiving corps this season. His wideouts have been weak at best.
Well, it's what I like to call a triangle offense, where it's Chris Armstrong and Jock Flimey and then Mike Pringle or Tyrone Rush, who's ever in the backfield, and they sprinkle in a little Michael Souls here and there. But, you know, it's a terrific structured offense for a guy like Tracy Ham that only has to throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game.
Bombers gambling on 3rd and 3. Boyko makes the catch and has the first down.
Well, I think Montreal did a job at the beginning of the year of emphasizing that they're going to try and run the football just like they did last year when they were the Baltimore team. And that complements Tracy Ham and makes him a better quarterback. And it certainly makes their offense something to worry about, especially in playoff time.
Well, I don't think there's any question. You go back, and Gord Miller brought up the point last week in the Montreal game when we did it that, you know, here was a team a year ago that won the Grey Cup in playoff games without throwing a touchdown pass, so they did it with running games and special teams, and you know, Bob Price's team still has the ability to do that again this year.
Procedure call against Winnipeg means it is 3rd down repeated and too many yards to go for, so the Bombers send in Cameron. They'll kick it away. This will be the 12th punt of the ball game.
He has been a busy man tonight.
Canadian rifle. Here, didn't get it. Randolph was all over Bob Cameron on a 3rd down gamble, 3rd and long, and he really didn't get much in that one. Long night for Murphy and the Bombers. 10:46 to go, 4th quarter on the final night of the regular season. Back live at Winnipeg Stadium where the Alouettes lead the Bombers 39-10. Here's the Canadian rifle in action.
Well, now he looks like the old quarterback from Acadia now.
Had happy feet, didn't he?
Until then. Where did he let
Had
that?
the happy feet going.
Well,
look at that. Oh.
Yeah, that kind of just went to an open spot.
Well, one bad thing didn't happen. It wasn't intercepted.
You look at what's interesting in looking at the line score. I mean, Winnipeg jumped off to that early 7-0 lead, and you know it's been 39-3 ever since that. That's kind of a whipping. That's not kind of a whipping. That is a
big time. Dan Crowley at the controls for the Alouettes. Tracy Ham bundled up on the sidelines, waiting for next week. Nice toss by Crowley for Montana. Couldn't get to it.
Dan Crowley's pass intended for Dennis Montana, incomplete.
Had a lot of stuff on that ball. Didn't miss by much.
No, it was a good throw. Denny Montana, I think, you know, what they'd love to do with him, you know, he's not going to be their big gunner by any stretch, but I think they'd like to see him catch a few balls, get some confidence, and, you know, in case for some reason they get into the playoffs and the inside guys are shut down or double, you know, they're going to have to go outside. I think they'd like to see his confidence level get a little higher.
Early movement and flags are down. Play whistled.
This Bomber team jumps offside a lot, and again, that was Charlie Clements, and Snipes does it. Greg Clark, when he's in there, he does it. This team gets very jumpy when they're coming after
Winnipeg,
the quarterback.
48.
And yes, that was Charlie Clements again.
Couple of times tonight.
Well, penalties for Winnipeg is something that they've always had to endure. You go back to
They're up there with the league leaders most seasons.
The Tyrone Jones, James West era. I mean, 12 penalties. That was a good day. Les Brown when he was here.
He used to get less a lot, didn't he? Climby again. This will be a first down.
You know, John and Lee, you guys mentioned Michael Souls. How could you unanimously pick Michael Souls over Jock Climby?
Well, I didn't pick him over Jock Climby. He just happened to be the one.
I didn't pick him over Jock Climby either.
You know what, gentlemen?
I picked him to win if
guys,
in fact it comes down to that next vote.
You know, get your facts straight. I mean, he
come
was the guy.
on. No, we heard you guys say unanimously.
First and 10. Crowley behind the target. Chris Armstrong.
You know what, gentlemen? One of the prevailing thoughts going into this season, we talked about Montreal's defense and we talked about Montreal's offense. One of the thoughts was, what are they going to do when it comes to the Canadians and the ratio? But just take a look at some of the candidates they have, like Doug Peterson and Jock Climby, Terry Baker, Michael Souls. I mean, they've fared pretty well when it comes to Canadian players on their roster.
I think that that's a tribute to Bob Price and Coach Ritchie and some of those experienced members of their coaching staff knowing the personnel within the league.
They've done a terrific job. They had a speed bump early in the year, but they've certainly overcome that.
On second and 10, Tyrone Rush comes close to a first down, but you do remember that they passed on Michael Souls the first time around in Montreal when Edmonton offered him up, and they didn't grab him the first time.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what happened to Katie Williams, but he is in a lot of trouble here. And the injuries just keep on mounting for Winnipeg tonight. This has been an awful, awful evening for injuries for them. Have a look at K.D. Williams and see if you can see what happens here. And I believe maybe it's his right hand. Not sure if it's his thumb.
Still in a lot of agony. K.D. Williams trying to update that situation when we return to Winnipeg Stadium, where the Alouettes are playing a whooping on the Blue Bombers. K.D. Williams being attended to on the Bombers sideline. It's been a rough night on the Bombers. Walby out for the game, as is starting quarterback Kevin McDougall.
You know what I'd like to throw out to the panel as well? I mean, we saw K.D. Williams was picked as the most outstanding player. Tell me then, how come he is not the outstanding defensive player? That goes to Angelo Snipes. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
The same thing happened with Ottawa with Wilhite.
Good fake by Crowley, and he gets it away.
He's gone.
So long, Charlie. Something to cheer about in Winnipeg as Garrett takes it 101 yards and not a marker anywhere. Shannon Garrett, second interception of the season, goes 101 yards.
And you know what's impressive? That is the 6th interception that the Bombers have taken for a touchdown this year. And I think that's kind of tough to tell if that's some sort of record or not, but
it's likely better than the offense.
Boy, that is impressive. You know, we talked about the defense and special teams contributing touchdowns. This now is the 10th on the season, 10 out of 39. That's not bad. Nobody's going to catch Shannon Garrett there. Mark Dixon, 64, actually gives it a pretty good run here. That's not bad for an offensive tackle. He'll look good in the films tomorrow. They'll say, yeah, he was
last guy. That was close all the way. Bombers get 7 closer, but this one is really not in doubt. In spite of Shannon Garrett's interception return. Winnipeg's Shannon Garrett has just galloped 101 yards for a touchdown, picking up his 2nd interception of the season. This was an easy 6.
Yes, it was.
Long way to run, though.
Mark Dixon kind of made it a little interesting there, but that's a heck of a play by the young rookie. We talked about him earlier in the football game. As a rookie, he's played very, very well. Why not try the onside?
Yeah, you got to do it a little more effectively than that.
His second half now has been all experiment for Winnipeg. They're
You're right.
trying to work on some things and try to get out of here without any more injuries with half a quarter remaining.
And it's Montreal.
39-17. Bombers scored the opening touchdown of the game on their opening drive and haven't hit the end zone until moments ago since then. So Dan Crowley tries again. He's set up at the Montreal 51. Tyrone Rush.
John, I guess with half a quarter remaining, one of the sidebar stories we were following in this game is who's going to win the sack title. And still late in the 4th quarter here, we have Grant Carter and Angelo Snipes still both unofficially tied at 15, with Snipes getting his opportunity here.
Maybe a fitting conclusion to this derby. 15-15. Almost picked up again. Darnell Small, who draws in to play in this game with Greg Clark on the sidelines.
Well, they're going to put us on the spot again, John, and this time we have to do defense. They are the representatives from both conferences.
Well, I think the guy from Montreal looks pretty good to me here again tonight. Not that guy from Montreal, Tracy Gravely from Montreal. It's about 3 on the return, that's all.
You know, John, you look at those defensive nominees, we're going to have a look at them again. What's interesting, you and I both like Tracy Gravely from the East, but they're the same situation. You look at Michael Souls, Jock Climby, who should get the pick as Canadian. I mean, Tracy Gravely, Grant Carter. I mean, that's a tough one, too. But
in the West, it's going to be a tight vote, too, I think.
Yeah, I kind of like Angelo Snipes, what he's brought to the table for this defense. You know, you look at a team that's led the league in interceptions, and you know, Angelo Snipes with his pressure is a big part of it.
Ken Austin looking at 1st and 10 for Winnipeg. Goes down, got it away. Darius Watson lost the ball. Here come the Alouettes. Recovered by Peterson.
Doug Peterson's been everywhere tonight.
And Austin a little slow to get up. Now he's back down on one knee. So maybe the Canadian rifle Bob Cameron gets to. No, he's back up, so he'll be back.
I'll tell you what, Darius Watson, who is subbing as a wide receiver right now, and makes a nice catch up in the hands, works back to the quarterback. Everything is good about this play until he coughs it up.
And then a hit on Austin here. Kind of rolled over there.
Grant Carter kind of just caved him in from behind, and to his credit, kind of Ken Austin, I'm sure, realizes he's the only guy left, and he can't get hurt.
Long night for Murph on the sidelines. You're not looking at the face of a happy man.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm sure his thoughts are drifting ahead to next weekend. It's going to be tough. Injuries and an offense that's struggling. I mean, that doesn't add up to a lot of hope to what they'll be able to do in Commonwealth. The Edmonton Eskimos finished off with a convincing win against the Stampeders. They have a week to rest, and that's not a good scenario for Winnipeg. Although I'm sure it's not something that Edmonton's going to take lightly.
Crowley is Armstrong. We'll add a few more yards to Armstrong's total there, but there's a marker down, so we'll wait a second before Armstrong gets credit for the yardage. Started the game at 943 yards. Obviously, a milestone of 1,000 would look nice for him.
Montreal number 88.
Yeah, he's on a holding pattern at 984 right now.
And we'll stay there.
Yes.
.557 to go. 39-17. Montreal leading Winnipeg. The Bombers get it right back. Well, it remains Montreal ball.
Well, Dan Crowley just steps away and never has a handle on it. And he's lucky Tyrone Rush, his running back, I believe, came up with the recovery.
Second and a bunch at 2nd and 16 here. Big Heat and Crowley just fired it into the turf.
Well, you know, John, I think one of the most difficult picks for the Football Reporters of Canada is to choose the best offensive lineman in the country. Very tough position for us to analyze. I know the fellas throughout the country ask the coaches on all the teams for some help in this category. I kind of like Mike Kiselak from Toronto in the East. And
yeah, I'll go there too. And you went with Rocco in the West?
I go with the Rock. Although it's tough, you know, Scott Hendrickson, that's a solid pick as well. I think it's a very, very difficult category to choose. Now, you know what? I want the guys back in the studio to see what a good time they had out here in Winnipeg. Now, you know, there's snow on the ground. It's -12 tonight, but we had a little reggae before the game tonight.
Just to warm things up. Playing guitar with the gloves on.
Now, you see, and the winner, if you stayed and watched those guys for 10 minutes, you got put into a lucky draw for this. A little thought of summertime down the road. But then we move back to the reality of the night. Yes, it took snowplows to get this field ready to play.
No, not a whole bunch of snow here, just a little light skip around the
I'll
city.
tell you, I'm not ready for this.
Here's Bryant on first down, lost the ball. Montreal will gain possession as it rolls out of bounds. Jason Bryant touched it last.
Jason Bryant knocking the ball out of bounds. And it's Montreal's ball.
Bryant already has a touchdown tonight on a return.
Montreal and Peyton and those guys just do such a good job of stringing it out. I mean, no place to go. It's not an excuse for fumbling the football, but absolutely been zero running room against this Montreal defense tonight. Those guys in the reggae band, I just like to report, they left about 3 hours ago. They are on a plane back to the Virgin Islands as we speak.
You're kidding, really?
Yes.
You talk to these guys. Oh, exhaustive research you do before every game.
Someone has to do it. That tells you Winnipeg's defense has stepped up a notch and Montreal hasn't been overly interested.
High snap, Crowley brings it down, shuffles it ahead. They're just trying to throw this thing away.
I think they're just
shuffle pass.
They're just trying to get this game over with and start to worry about next week.
I could agree with that.
John Kalen there, Calvin Dinosaur, and the Big E, Alfred Payton. I bet you he still loves to come back here and play in Winnipeg. He had some pretty good years here. 22 sacks one season when he led the league here with the Bombers. John Kalen, former quarterback at the University of Calgary.
You like his snot on his head?
Second and goal at the Bomber 8. High and outside. Armstrong was the intended target. CIU football tomorrow. Queens McGill, an old rivalry renewed. We'll have it for you from McGill Stadium at 1 Eastern. Vanier Cup veteran right there, John Kalin. So Baker in to put the Alouettes over 40. Hit on 50% tonight. Sort of figured this might be a long evening for the Bombers when Eric Gulliford, their leading receiver, was disqualified.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That kind of threw a lot of Cal Murphy's plans out the window. And offense coordinator Mike Kelly, you lose your best receiver, and you know it gets tough. You look at 18 different receivers have caught passes for Cal Murphy's team this year, and tells you what kind of injury problems they have had.
The Alouettes, though, are all smiles, getting ready for the Tiger Cats at home next weekend. Mike Richardson. Bombers have used the running game a little more tonight. It's likely a big part of the plan against Edmonton next week.
First down repeated.
Well, the thing you have to do if you're Winnipeg and putting together a game plan, it'll all be predicated on, you know, can they stay close with Edmonton? If they can stay close, they can run. If they've got to play catch-up, they won't be able to do it.
Timeout with a 3-minute warning. And Montreal on top, 42-17. Outstanding Rookie Award nominees: Justin Ring, Joseph Rogers, Gary Harrell. I kind of like Joseph Rogers from the East.
I agree with you, and I went with Kelvin Anderson. Calgary, and you like Gulliford?
Well, I haven't really voted that way, but I was thinking that until he made the bonehead play here tonight. I might take mine.
Can you take it back?
Take my vote back. Jean-Pierre Leonard gets a rare carry.
I don't think we've done.
I should say Leonard Jean-Pierre, right?
Leonard Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done the outstanding player tonight, have we? But I don't. Is there any point?
Sure.
Yeah.
Might as well.
You think somebody's going to unseat Doug Flutie?
I think so. I think it's a possibility.
Ooh, that's pretty strong, though.
Same number of touchdown passes. Close to the same number of wins.
C'est possible.
C'est possible.
Well, I'm getting the French phone. We've got RDS with us tonight, our French partners, and from time to time I hear them working down the hall from us here.
You'll be bilingual before you know it.
Oh, I don't think there's a chance of that. So I guess to update the sack story, that it looks as though Angelo Snipes and Grant Carter are going to end up in a tie this year.
Some early movement there. Austin fires anyway, and that draws a cheer. Ooh, they're getting a little nasty here.
Not many of them left to get nasty, though.
Offside, Montreal 57. Still first.
Elfrid Payton that time.
Well, you know, I think when you watch this game now, and you've got Grant Carter 54 out there on the opposite side from Elfrid Payton, 2 minutes to go, and Austin will probably be firing. I mean, this is his chance to win the sack title. There he is.
2nd and 4. Leonard Jean-Pierre again. And he'll be stopped short of the first down. Isn't that kind of a night for Winnipeg? Tracy Gravely gets credit for another tackle. He should likely win that trophy, the tackling #1 tackler in the CFL this year. Leonard to Jean-Pierre again. May we?
That's good. Can you translate that for me?
But yes, I think.
Very good. Well, we talked about the outstanding players, and you and I maybe had a bit of a difference of opinion. Tracy Ham certainly picked it up in the second half of the season. I mean, I think it's going to be Doug Flutie, but...
Well, I think you're likely right. I just...
You never know.
Talking a little bit about Ham's outstanding season. He's played in a little bit of a shadow to Flutie for a couple of seasons overall, and he has really put some great numbers up on the board. Very effective here tonight. 27 touchdowns overall. That touchdown interception ratio is interesting, and he is the #1 passer in the Canadian Football League in proficiency. So,
well, listen, there's a lot of things to argue for Tracy Ham. He's had a heck of a year, and he's a good guy, and glad to see him playing so well. And I guess what's nice is he carried it over from the Grey Cup a year ago, and you know, I'm pleasantly surprised at how this Montreal team is rounding into form.
And again, encore. Leonard Jean-Pierre.
Tell you what, you look at this, and I know it's late in the game, and he's saying, you know, put the palms out like that. Well, why haven't you used me earlier?
So Leonard Jean-Pierre has taken the Bombers deep into Montreal territory with now 37 seconds on the clock. Austin missed the target, and the target was Sean Graham. Let's bring in Greg Musselman.
Okay, thanks, John. K.D. Williams has a hyperextended a problem with his left elbow, and asked him if he would be playing next week, and he says he's not sure. And but he just came over to me and asked me if you guys could figure out how many tackles he's had. So he's keeping a good frame of mind, and of course for the Bombers, they need him next week in Edmonton.
Well, and the reason why he's asking about tackles, he had 95 coming into tonight's game, and Tracy Gravely had 102 as those two fought it out for the league lead in that department.
I think Gravely will still have an edge.
Unfortunately, I don't have that statistic.
29 seconds remaining in this one. A long night for the Blue Bombers after scoring on the opening drive. A very impressive march to the end zone.
Our ace statistician, David Moyer, has every statistic we usually ask for, but tackles is something that he leaves up to the league. And I don't have that information from Mr. Williams. I don't really care much either.
Well, this football season about to end in Winnipeg. At least the regular season. Bombers on against Edmonton next week, and they'll be a battered bunch in the next couple of days as they prepare for the Eskimos in the Western semifinal. Alouettes have tuned up rather nicely for their home date with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
What did they ever?
Carter draws the penalty, not the sack. He got charged with roughing the passer.
Hello, partner. It's the end of our 10th year together.
10 years?
10 years you and I have been
together. And they said it wouldn't last.
Well, again, it was a lot of fun.
Longer than a lot of marriages.
That's right.
Do you realize how many divorces we've seen in 10 years?
That's right. Well, you and I will hook up to do the Grey Cup on TSN Radio. It'll be available across the country on many, many stations.
And we'll watch with interest. Touchdown toss. Darius Watson.
He may be a better receiver than a defensive back.
So Austin gets one back. This score now, though, flatters the Bombers a little bit at 42-23.
Well, this is interesting. Myron Wise, the other starting wide receiver, was out with a rib injury tonight as well. And, you know, Darius Watson just may have earned himself a starting assignment next week. You know, Gulliford and Watson on the outside. And, you know, it doesn't look like too bad a combination. I suspect you may see him playing there next week. For Ken Austin, I guess the good news is that he will finish on a positive note.
Well, they're gearing things up with a highlight run at Sports Desk. It will follow us immediately this evening on CFL Live from Winnipeg. That should be the final score. There are 3 seconds on the clock right now, unofficially.
Let's give Montreal 42 and Winnipeg 24.
One lone cowbell somewhere here. Can you hear that? Where is this guy? Well, they can end this thing anytime, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you know, I look down at these metal seats in the stands, and I'll tell you what, I hope most people brought a cushion tonight.
This is Hemorrhoid Haven, you know.
Oh, boy. That's it. That's just a smart play.
Mercifully.
Yeah.
For the Blue Bombers, it's over.
That's it, and that's all. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Regular season is over for Montreal and Winnipeg. Alouettes finished on a high note. The Bombers, well, they had a sour one on home ice tonight.
and ask them to drive home safely.
Tonight's Corral Radically Canadian players of the game are on defense, number 54, Grant Carter. They turned out the lights on him, though. It's gone dark here at Winnipeg Stadium, but there's Grant by the miracle of videotape. And on offense, the Montreal quarterback, Tracy Ham. Had a great first half and rested after that. Bundled up on the sideline. It's over in Winnipeg, and the fireworks are underway.
So as the final week of the CFL's regular season comes to a close, our season here on the CFL Live comes to a close as well. 40 games. Boy, have they gone by quickly. Coach, I'd like to get your thoughts, if you could reflect a little bit.
Well, first of all, it's been a pleasure being a part of this show, and I'd like to thank TSN for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this panel, and I hope we've added something positive to the telecast. And we saw an awful lot of good talent this year, and you know, like every season, some teams play better than others, and they did.
Thanks, Coach.
We definitely saw a lot of good football this year. You know, the teams with the parity of with the NFL or the teams that were in the state splitting up. We saw a lot of parity in the league, and I thank TSN also for giving me this opportunity. We took a lot of shots at Marty, you know, on his part. We got on Coach.
Rightfully so.
We got on Coach in his head, you know, shining in the lights a lot. And I just want to give John Wells a lot of credit for putting up with Leaf for 10 years. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I had a hoot as well, guys. At the beginning of the season, when the good people at TSN asked me to do this gig, I thought I was going to have a little bit of trouble with you football people, but you know, a little friction with Bob and then you and then Leaf, but really it wasn't too bad. It was Darren I had the trouble with. But no, Darren, this was a season in which off-field news really dominated. And there were crises in BC, there were crises in Ottawa, and somehow the league ends up surviving. We heard Larry Smith tell us in the pregame show today that he thinks there will be a league next year, and I guess that's the thing about the CFL, that somehow, some way, the league always manages to survive.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. You know, when I asked you to reflect, I was thinking more along the terms of football. You guys all managed to get TS in there a lot. I suspect we'll be seeing you next year. Let's return to Winnipeg Stadium.
We're not stupid.
Block of the game is brought to you by Pepsid AC. You can be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC. Little KD?
Well, it was a little KD. I'm going to let you do the honors with the pen right here. That is very good, Wellesley. You haven't done that in 10 years. That's not bad. Now you just got to learn how to erase it. There you go. And it's Anthony Drawhorn. I'm not sure if this is a block, if this is a fight, or what it is, but the block, it looked like a little bit of... Don't get carried away here now. See, you give a kid a toy and look what happens.
That wasn't a Pepsid AC block of the game. There was no... Anyway, that was it. We say so long from Winnipeg Stadium. All Montreal in this one tonight.